a little blip, and now we got lots of blips coming together. And this indicates large amounts of debris being lofted up into the sky away from the actual tornado that's on the ground currently.
And that quick evolution, that just continues to show what kinds of things are possible, what the atmosphere is capable of doing today. The storm is just evolving quickly and kind of just blossoming into strong tornadoes from what we're not sure about to 1 minute to being a strong tornado the next. So it's very important to take these warnings seriously as they come out. And we are getting word in the NWS chat. The last thing we saw, the last message just before 3:30, that significant tornado heading towards McCall Creek. That was the last message that we got. But we're also getting word, expect this warning, or at least some kind of tornado warning, to be expanded into the northern counties. It's still moving northeast around 30 miles per hour was the last time I checked what the speed of this storm, but that's continuing to move. That we don't see on a map this warning expanded yet, but expect that warning to go ahead and increase. So if you are in parts of Jefferson County, that's the eastern portion of Jefferson County, or even looking forward to parts of Copiah County, this storm is continuing to move towards the north and east. So it's important for those of us ahead of it, Lloyd Star area, Caseyville, those of us to be keeping your eye on this storm because it is continuing to move. You know, the warning that's over Franklin County, it's set to expire around 4 p.m., but this storm, it's still strong, it's still capable of damage. We still have, by every word that we've heard so far, tornado on the ground. So just be sure, if you are downstream of this, to also be ready to get in your tornado safe place as soon as possible, as this is still a dangerous situation. We've seen debris, we've seen strong winds associated with this storm, and this is the first that we've seen so far, but it's continuing to move. Expect this warning to be expanded as the storm continues to move towards the north and the east.
It's a doozy, that's for sure. What I'd like to do right now, if we can today, is let's plot out from where we are here and give folks some advance notice in Caseyville and give some folks in Lloyd Star some advance notice. And I just got to alert everybody who lives now in Copiah County too, Hazelhurst, even over through Wesson. Heads up on this storm, okay? This is when we think this storm is going to be moving in. And just if you want to adjust your plotting, I think it's okay. But if you want to adjust it, we're at 30 miles per hour, the speed of this particular storm. Moving northeast, it's going to be near the Caseyville area very soon. We're just going to plot that in the computer, make sure that we're all on the same page here with plotting it. And we'll go back to that screen here in just a second for you folks. Yeah. But bottom line is, this is where we're watching that storm as it's moving northeast, and right now continuing to go northeastward through heading towards Copiah County. It's in western Lincoln and eastern Franklin County right now, but Caseyville, you're in the path of it. Eventually, you're going to have to deal with this storm, whether it's tornadic or not at that point. But when you have a large tornado this close to you, it is just an assumption, and I would just say it's going to happen very soon, that a downstream tornado is probably coming out for your area. So alerting you folks that live in the panhandle of Lincoln County to get ready for this particular storm. And it's going to be going more northeastward and going across Highway 550 and going across 28 eventually in Copiah County as well. This is a dangerous situation. You don't see the purple boxes very often, but they do them when considerable damage is likely from a particular storm like this. And that's exactly what we're seeing. It's a large tornado. It's a confirmed tornado. It's an observed tornado. A lot of folks have seen this now at this point, and we have confirmation with our debris tracker that it's lofting debris quite a bit high in the sky at this point in time. So you can see right now, this is the bigger picture showing you the storm in southwest Mississippi, and then we've got also the cells here in the eastern part of Louisiana. That continues to show the cells that are moving eastward, and unfortunately in eastern Louisiana, it looks like we have an observed tornado now also. It looks like 2 areas observed. When you start seeing those white boxes, that's exactly what you start looking at this point in time. Let me just go over to the computer for a second. If you guys can go full screen for a moment, I'm going to adjust something on the computer. One thing we want to do here is want to take this off, get the lightning data off of it, because it's very hard to see. Just give me 1 second here. And let me fix that real quick. And then if we go into the storm, when we're looking here at the wind, let's go into the debris real quick. And we'll go into this particular cell since we're going to focus on that some more. And you can see the couplet. There you go. A very strong couplet crossing by McCall Creek and Lucian right now. So that's something to keep in mind. As we look at the cell and we'll plot it out here. Let's see here. Where's my little plot? There we go. And right up here, we're just going to enter 30 miles per hour to make sure that we're all on the same page. And I will zoom out just a little bit, and this will give us a better idea. And if we hold it together here, going at this speed, we're going to be looking at it arriving in these, again, I'm just plotting where this storm is going. I'm not saying it's going to be tornadic when it gets to you, but this is a large confirmed tornado observed on the ground. Midway, 4 o'clock, Martinsville, 4:19, Hazelhurst, 4:27, Gallman, 4:36, Crystal Springs, 4:44, and Beech Grove, 4:52. All right, a dangerous storm, regardless of whether it's tornadic when it gets to you. This is a dangerous storm. It is going to miss Brookhaven. All right, that's the largest population center, at least right here, closest right now to the actual tornado. But keep in mind, we are going to continue to watch this particular cell as it's the one that's showing the most amount of development now. And part of the problem is it's getting that southeasterly fetch of wind at the surface, and the actual storm is moving in a southwesterly, from the southwesterly strong upper level winds that are meeting it. So that's why you have winds of different directions hitting it, and that helps it spin, if that makes more sense to you. So when you have winds coming from different directions that are basically moving against the storm, instead of the storm just moving in a straight line, it's getting that spin, and that's why we're seeing it rotate and move northeastward. But a dangerous storm nonetheless that just crossed Highway 84. Meadville, I will tell you, you're in the clear right now on this storm. Rest a little easier. Bude, the storm just came through your area. I hope you're okay. If you do have a Bude address, though, just east of the Meadville area, you still might be impacted by this storm. And I just want to see how this plays. You can see there's a little bit of a broken area right in the middle of it. Sometimes in we see these things turn into what we call donut holes, where the storm is so well developed that you're basically going to be looking at, a very significant tornado. I hope that's not what's going on. What are your thoughts on that? I know I'm putting you on the spot real quick on this, but we've just seen such dramatic presentation from this storm.
Right. So we are seeing every other parameter that we use to measure these storms is also looking significant. We've seen reports of it on the ground within the last several minutes. We also have seen this large debris signature with this tornado. So everything that we have right now is telling us that this is something to take very seriously. We still see this large debris signature where you see those deeper cool colors, the blues, the greens, and then this velocity couplet. As you can see that those the green and red color, that interactions with those winds of different directions is definitely tightened. It's definitely a strong rotation with this storm, and we know that within the past several minutes it has been a tornado. At least even if no one has eyes on it right now on the ground, we know what it's capable of, and we know that it is currently moving to the north and west. It's going to be entering parts of Copiah County shortly. So this is something that you want to take very seriously if you are in the area currently being affected, and also if you are downstream of the area. We tracked it as it moved across Franklin County, but just to put another long-term track on it, let me move it a little bit more towards the north, go backwards and see how the storm is moving. Yeah, so if I move this up towards the north, when we can expect that around the end of the hour, so 3:54-ish, it'll be right over Caseyville. So you want to be in your safe space before that. Get prepared to be in your safe space now. Midway around 4:04, and then closer to 4:30, around 4:28 over there in Gallatin, Hazelhurst, 4:31. So it is just very important for us to be keeping our eye on this storm. That is what we have seen, and that we see the pink box has expanded as that tornado warning that we've been talking about, anticipating, has just now officially been issued, because we continue to see this storm capable of producing a tornado, capable of producing damage as it moves across the county lines and expands forward into parts of Lincoln County, into parts of Copiah County as well. So we've been telling you guys for the past couple minutes to be ready. Now the tornado warning is here, has been expanded, and it includes the community of Hazelhurst, as far out as Hazelhurst. We expect that within the next hour. So definitely, if you're not already there, get to that. If you're in Hazelhurst, get to that tornado safe place quickly. This storm is heading in your area. And if you are in the northwestern part of Lincoln County near the Caseyville area, between Caseyville, Cobbs, the storm is imminent, is right over you. And we've seen debris being lofted in the air by this storm. We've seen very strong winds associated. We still have that debris signature in the sky right now with our latest radar scans. So once again, this is a dangerous situation. This has been confirmed as a tornado, and we have storm storm spotters that have laid their eyes on this. They said that it was a large tornado, and it's just likely that there will be reports of damage in its wake. So if you are in this cone, then just be sure to be careful, take this very seriously, and head to your tornado safe space. And just to reiterate, for those of us that are outside of this area, because the threat of tornadoes, it exists across central Mississippi today. What do you need to be thinking of when it comes to taking shelter? Now, the worst places to be: mobile homes, vehicles, and underneath an overpass. You don't want to get caught there this afternoon, so be sure to plan now that we're seeing storms kicking off across the area. Don't be in any of these locations. And some bad options: a large open room, manufactured housing. Those are places that you don't want to plan to be as we continue to head into the late afternoon to early evening hours. Plan to have an interior room of a well-constructed home or building ready to take shelter in. Or basement is a good option. The best option, tornado shelters, or specifically FEMA-designed rooms. But if we go back to radar and look at what we are seeing right now, tornado warnings, or not tornado warnings, rather severe thunderstorm warnings, also just starting to touch the Mississippi-Louisiana border as those storms continue to move to the north of Monroe. We're seeing that line of severe thunderstorms. We saw a tornado confirmed in parts of Louisiana earlier near the Winsboro area, but the main threat that we are tracking right now in central Mississippi is this tornado warning that is continuing to be in parts of, right now, Lincoln County, Copiah County, and is just exiting Franklin County as well. If you're in the northeasternmost corner, you still need to stay in that the safe place, but those of us further back near Meadville, it's looking like you're in the clear. But it looks like Dave has some more information on this storm right now.
Yeah, I mean, this moment. You're watching coverage, and we're a victim to the weather, just as a lot of folks are that are out there this afternoon. Just give us a second. The radar start populating the screen, and we're staying on the air with you here. Don't worry. But you're watching our coverage here, severe weather coverage. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dave Roberts, First Alert Weather. I've got meteorologist Anais Scales. I've also got meteorologist Chase Franks with us here, and we are broadcasting live as a serious, large tornado is continuing to move out of eastern sections of Franklin County and moving into Lincoln County right now, and eastern Copiah County as well. A tornado warning in effect. This is a particularly dangerous situation. You need to take cover immediately if you're in this area. The tornado warning is in effect until 4:45 this afternoon. An extremely dangerous tornado is located right now just to the northeast in parts of Lincoln County, and you can see it very clear here on the radar screen. It is about to cross Highway 550 in Copiah County here very shortly. Caseyville, be on alert. Even if you live in the Lloydstar area, this is going to be very close to you as well. This is an observed tornado. It is on the ground. We have multiple sources confirming that to us right now, and we've been watching it here. This is part of the problem. We've you know, and really, and doesn't this fall in line with what we were talking about online earlier today? And you were talking about it this morning, and I was talking about it last night, but these discrete, isolated storms. This is ahead of the main line. This is not the main event. It is for you if you live in Lincoln County or if you live in Franklin County. I'm not taking that away from you.
We are still seeing, thankfully, we can see here, we're still looking at radar full screen, and that storm, that's the confirmed tornado that we have in the area right now, south of Caseyville. It's just towards the west of Cobb, and that is moving into Copiah County. Now, the last reports that we've seen within the last couple of minutes, still a dangerous tornado, still on the ground, still a large tornado, and we can definitely see that when we look at the return on the debris signature still there, and very strong winds associated with that couplet, winds of different colors within that, kind of wrapping around each other within a small area. We definitely still see that just crossing the county line, exiting out of Franklin County and moving into parts of Lincoln County. This is a dangerous situation. Once again, it's something that you need to take seriously. But if we kind of zoom out, just like Dave was mentioning, and we have these what we call discrete cells, these individual storms ahead of the main line. That's something that we still have to track as we go throughout the evening as well.
I think that's going to be after 5 o'clock at this point. I think the way things are advancing and progressing here, I think the main line of storms may start pushing in around 5-ish. Do you think I'm a little bit off here? Or
they're definitely speeding up. They're close. They're getting close to the state line for sure over in parts of eastern Louisiana. And we notice a lot of them are still warned, those orange boxes, tornado possible, severe thunderstorms, and they even had a tornado confirmed not too long ago over in parts of Louisiana as well. That was observed in the parish, their Franklin parish, similar to how we had a tornado observed in our Franklin County. So strange coincidence here, but overall it's just a dangerous situation that we are watching. So we've been on this storm that has this tornado warning that is going to be headed toward the Hazelhurst area very soon. It's pretty much over Caseyville right now. That's where it's headed. But if we look south of it, I want to just take a peek at this storm really quick.
Yeah, that's the one that's getting me a little concerned over by East Fork and just west of Macomb. I would give a heads up to all of you folks living in southern Lincoln County right now. Go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your...
Oh, no, that's no problem at all. Just because of the environment that we're in, we saw how quickly that storm that just affected parts of Franklin County within the last couple of minutes, that's moving into Copiah County. We saw how quickly that one evolved from the same environment that we are in right now. So it's important to keep an eye on this. That's a rotation south of East Fork. It's not as strong, of course, as what we're seeing farther north, but this is pretty much how that storm started off. Yeah. An hour ago, we were sitting in the back talking about a storm south of in Emmett County, and it looked like that. So I'd say that if you're in the East Fork area, there's rotation with this thunderstorm that's over you as well. And I'm going to go ahead and track that one long term, because areas further south of where the tornado is right now, you could be seeing a storm capable of producing some rotation not too long from now.
I can't tell if they're splitting or merging those two particular cells. You notice the way they're acting? It's hard to really say. But this is a very hostile environment right now in southwest Mississippi. Why? We've got all the ingredients working in the favor of severe to intense thunderstorms. And what do you think? Go ahead.
I would say that's splitting. Yeah. What we see, they're doing a strange little dance here. But we know they're capable. They're moving into an environment where they are capable of producing some rotation. They're capable of producing tornadoes. We've already seen multiple of those here in Mississippi and Louisiana. Well, one in Mississippi, some in Louisiana as well. So that's what we're going to continue to track throughout this evening. These storms are moving into an environment where they could quickly become a dangerous situation. So I'm going to put a long-term track on this storm that is just to the east of East Fork. And if we look up to the north, it's going to be headed, if it's moving the same speed, around 30 miles per hour, if we track it at that speed, near the Hartman area, 430, that's Boca Chica, that's what we're looking at, 420, and Brookhaven, possibly 438. Now, this last storm, that was moving over parts of Copiah County right now. That one missed Brookhaven, but we are expecting this storm that is now downstream of that one would be heading towards the Brookhaven area just before 4:40 p.m. And that is what we're tracking right now. The storm doesn't have warnings on it at the moment, but it's showing potential. It's showing that it does have a weak rotation with it. And with the type of event that we've been seeing today, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take long for a weak rotation to become a tornado, just like what we see happening just north of that storm. So now looking at parts of Lincoln County, northern Lincoln County, heading right into Copiah County. We're looking at Caseyville, Lloydstar, Midway. These are communities where you want to be in your safe space, as they are now seeing that thunderstorm. And it's been a few minutes since we checked the debris signature. Still there. Just looking up, this is the latest update. We see 348, and we still see that strong velocity couplet, still see strong rotation. So everything that we have right now indicating that we are still seeing a tornado on the ground. We're just treating this just like it's still that tornado on the ground like we saw in Franklin County. Now that is just to the west of Lloydstar. It's south of Caseyville, and it's moving in that area. It's moving north and east, and it's going to be approaching Midway very soon. Also further downstream in the path of that storm, Martinsville, Hazelhurst. These are communities in Copiah County that need to look out for this storm that is it's imminent. The threat is imminent. We've seen a tornado. We've seen a damaging tornado throughout this hour from this storm, and it is continuing to hold together and is continuing to track towards the north and east around 30 miles per hour. We're getting reports of damage that this has left in Franklin County, and it is continuing along that path, moving through parts of Lincoln County, and it will be in Copiah County shortly. So this is definitely something that we need to be taking seriously. Right now, it seems like it'll be crossing Highway 550. It'll be crossing 550 shortly, and it's continuing to move towards Copiah County over the next several minutes.
All right, so here's what we've got right now. We are getting reports of damage coming in from near McCall Creek. All right, in areas of eastern Franklin County. So I just want to alert you to that. We are getting reports now coming in of when the storm went across the eastern part of the area of McCall Creek. There is damage being reported we're trying to get additional information for you on that. I'm working on that for you, but this continues moving northeast across Highway 550, and it's heading for Interstate 55. So I want to alert everybody that's in Copiah County that may be thinking of traveling, or if you know somebody that's going to be on I-55 in Copiah County here within the next half hour to an hour. This is a dangerous situation. This warning goes for another hour here, just about 4:45, almost an hour. And right now it's nearing the Lloyd Star community, about to move across Highway 550. A large tornado, observed tornado. Good news for those of you in Franklin County. The good news is the warning's over. The bad news is we are getting reports of damage in Franklin County in the eastern part of the county. So keep that in mind. This is the debris ball, still a well-defined debris ball, that's going across Highway 550 right now. This is a long track tornado at this point.
Definitely, and we've been talking about throughout the day, that's possible. That's what we were expecting with the ingredients that we had in play with these individual discrete supercells. Once they moved into this area by themselves, that they were going to possibly become strong and long tracked. Unfortunately, that's what we've seen for this storm that just moved across Franklin County and is now entering into parts of Copiah County. So it is frankly right over Lloyd Star, south of Caseyville. So if you're in between those near the Highway 550, then that is something that you will definitely want to keep in mind. If we get a little bit closer to a street view, you can see that it is affecting, that looks like Liberty Drive northwest, and we know that it's going to be moving into Midway as this storm continues to track to the north and to the east. So we're looking right now, we have that couplet right over 550. It's pretty much just towards the west of Lloyd Star. So if you're in that Lloyd Star community, definitely being affected by this storm, stay in that safe place as we continue to see that weather pass over the area. And if you're in Midway, you want to be in that safe space right now because we see this storm, it's capable of producing damage. We are just getting reports right now. We're continuing to track those reports as that moves through the area. The tornado warning canceled for Franklin as they're tracking those reports of damage in Franklin, and that's what we are seeing. That's what's going to be likely as we are heading into, as the storm rather is heading into parts of Lincoln County and parts of Copiah County as well. We know this is capable of damage. We've observed a large tornado with this. So once again, this cell is something that you want to take very seriously if you're in the northwestern part of Lincoln County and then moving into Copiah County as we head into the 4 o'clock hour.
And this is headed towards some larger communities now that we really need to alert you on. As it's crossing Highway 550, it's got Hazelhurst in its sights. Now, we don't know if this thing's really going to hold together that much longer, but this thing's been an impressive tornado, and we've had numerous reports of it, numerous sightings of it. We're also checking, by the way, our free First Alert weather app. If you're in a safe place where you can take pictures or video and you upload them, it's a really quick process to do. Send those into us, but only do so safely. We're not interested if you have to do it in a dangerous fashion, but that way we could share it on air. But this is what's going on right now. The storm is actually close to Highway 550, about to move through the Midway community and then Martinsville, and eventually get closer to Hazelhurst, the fairgrounds that are very close to Gallman. So this just gives you an idea. 4:37 Gallman is the arrival time of the storm. 4:29 Hazelhurst, 4:21 Martinsville, and Midway at 4:02. Tornado warning canceled now for Franklin County. The tornado has passed over you. I want to show the rest of the area here because we just want to give you a full scope as to what's going on. We have a tornado watch that covers up a large portion now of central and southwest Mississippi. This includes the Metro Jackson area, Yazoo, Madison counties, southward to the Louisiana border. It also includes Issaquena, Sharkey counties southward down through the Louisiana border as well. A tornado watch until 9 p.m. this evening. A tornado watch means conditions are possible for the development of a tornado. We are seeing that, and we have a large track confirmed tornado right now. That is a long track, I should say, confirmed tornado that is currently moving across parts of Copiah County, extreme western Lincoln, northwest Lincoln County, and now in the southwest part of Copiah County. And you know, here's the thing, Anae, we just got to think about this down the line. All right, we've got one tornado warning right now in the eastern part of Louisiana. Most of those seem to be at least severe thunderstorm warnings here. But if that storm continues moving northeastward, if it can hold its own and continue in this environment, it will be in the Metro Jackson area within the hour. So it is something we're watching for you very closely. At this point, it seems like it's got a pretty good opening to the southeast, which means it's getting a southeasterly wind flow, but this thing will continue tracking northeastward. This could be an issue in the Metro Jackson area, say about 5 o'clock or thereafter. And I hate to say it was an omen, but I said this a few minutes ago. I think things were really going to start getting cranking here about after 5 o'clock or so. These are isolated, discrete storms that you're witnessing right now. They're acting on their own. They're tapping into all the energy that's in the atmosphere, and this storm is really not in a lot of competition with many others. We are watching these other storms out there, but so far they just haven't been able to really match the energy of this storm. These two cells are south of the one that is currently moving into Copiah County, but I don't know that they're really interfering, Anae, because they're not blocking the flow. They're actually south of the storm. So they're actually getting the track from the southwest, and then the low-level flow is coming in from the southeast, and there's just nothing really blocking it at this point in time. If these get a little bit farther northeast, they might block it. And of course, we got to look more to the south. Yeah. I'm noticing what's going on now. We've got another cell that is forming in the northern parishes of southeast Louisiana, and if we continue to track this cell and it develops further, it will impact Pike as well as the mid counties before long. So already a tornado warning radar indicated, at least on this one that is currently in the southeast Louisiana area, and that's going to be moving very soon into parts of Imminent as well as Pike County. So the day is young. We still have a lot to go here as far as clearing these storms. We do believe, though, with it being 4 p.m. right now, we think the worst of this should be over by about 9 o'clock tonight. That's 5 hours from now. It may seem like eternity to you. It's eternity for us if we're going to be on the air that entire time, but we're going to be here to get you through it, just letting you know that. And these are some of the arrival times on this storm. Not saying it's going to be a tornado when it gets to you, but this is the time when the storm will reach you. In Macomb, that could be very close to 5 p.m., maybe sooner. So we'll be keeping you posted in Macomb and Magnolia and all of our towns that watch us in southwest Mississippi. Let's go back to the storm at hand, though, which is the large tornado and the one that could cause considerable damage. That one is located right now in extreme western Copiah County, lifting out of the northwestern corner, almost the panhandle area of Lincoln County. And this is still showing up to be pretty intense near the Midway community, Anae, isn't it?
For sure, we still have that tornado warning in effect, and I'm just trying to make sure that the speed is still, so it's moving northwest at 40 miles per hour right now. I suspected the speed had changed, so I'm going to get another track on this for you, but I'm going to update the speed first on this storm that we are seeing. So change the property of that. A few minutes ago, we were tracking at 30. Now it looks to have sped up a little bit, 40 miles per hour, and it's still moving towards the north and east. So if I put a track on that right now, we're tracking it just north of Midway, north of Lloydstar rather, over Midway, and we're continuing to see that move in the north and east. So if I zoom out a little bit, then I'm going to give a long track, a more long-term track, because this have already lasted for several counties. So just a worst case scenario that this holds together, going to track this throughout the next hour to let communities in its wake know when you might be affected by this storm. Now Hazelhurst 419, you've been in this warning for a minute now, so we're getting closer to that time. The time is winding down for this storm to be right over your area. So in the Hazelhurst community around 419, you can expect that. Gallman 426, further down, Crystal Springs 432. I wouldn't be surprised if you get included in a tornado warning shortly as this storm continues to kind of hold together as it tracks. Terry 445, the Byram area 454, and then around 503, South Jackson. If it holds together that long, like Dave said earlier, it will be approaching the metro area. But right now, I'm just going to try to get a closer look on the properties of this storm, see how well is it holding together, since it has been confirmed as a tornado for a while now, definitely for an hour now. So we still definitely see a velocity couplet. I'm going to check the debris. The debris ball, it's looking weaker now, but it's still there. We're still seeing something in that area where we would expect it. But the good news is, if we can't say there's good news in this situation, not as strong as what we were tracking through Franklin County, but it's still notable. It's still something that you want to be in your safe place for, because this storm, it still has a lot of fuel out there. If it wants to re-strengthen, it definitely would be capable of doing that. And we still are tracking an area of rotation. I can't confirm whether or not it's still touching the ground at this moment, but we definitely see rotation, and we know what this storm has been capable of for the past hour. So it's something that you want to look out for. The debris is looking more scattered, but we're still under a tornado warning in parts of Copiah County. And if this storm continues along its path, it will be near the Jackson Metro close to 5 o'clock p.m. But that is the strongest storm we're tracking in our area right now. But zooming out, we've got warnings in the state of Louisiana that will be in our area very soon.
They're closing in on us, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And from multiple different angles, we've got the western counties in our viewing area just outside of Vicksburg. You see that line approaching, but then to our south is looking like Emmett County, likely going to be affected by a storm that is in a tornado warning pretty soon. And that one tracking towards the Macomb area, if it keeps up with its path. That one, I believe, was moving around 35 miles per hour the last time I tracked it. So just going to put another track on part of this storm when you could possibly be impacted by this if it continues to hold together. That's looking at Macomb just before 5 o'clock, around 4:55. Magnolia 448, East Fork at 440, and that is an area where they've already been seeing some thunderstorms throughout the day. So we're just continuing to track some supercells trying to get organized or trying to get their act together in southern Mississippi right now as they continue to move into our area, and what is shaping up to be a very, very active afternoon as far as weather is concerned. And another look at those severe thunderstorms that we're seeing over in parts of eastern Louisiana. We have a tornado warning. In effect, we have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings with tornadoes possible in them, and those are closing in on. And I'm going to work on getting velocity for this line quickly, but for now, I'm going to see do you have updates on the storm?
Yeah, I just wanted to say we're right now coming up just past 4 o'clock. You're watching severe storm coverage live on WLBT Jackson, WDBD Jackson. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dave Roberts, along with meteorologist Danae Scales. We also have meteorologist Chase Franks on scene as well. Our storm tracker is getting into position. We'll be giving you updates as soon as we get closer to the storm, and we are nearing this particular storm cell, so stay with us, folks. We have been tracking a tornado, a confirmed tornado, a large tornado, an observed tornado for the past hour or so, a little bit more than that maybe, as it's been moving across southwest Mississippi. This is kind of acting on its own. It's part of the storm system, but it's not part of the line of storms. And it continues moving toward now Hazelhurst at a pretty good clip. It's moving about 30, 35 miles per hour. And we have to alert everybody in Hazelhurst and the Gallman communities to please take cover immediately. A dangerous situation developing. It doesn't look as strong as it did 5-10 minutes ago, but it's still a tornado nonetheless. And a tornado warning is currently in effect for Copiah County. 6,000 people are right now impacted by this tornado warning as we speak. So a very dangerous situation, and one that you need to take heed immediately. The storm will eventually probably go a little bit east of Crystal Springs. One thing you need to understand about tornadic systems is they're twisting and they have a little bit of a right turn to them. So that's why where it is right now, the core of it's close to 55. It's probably going to jump 55 eventually and then continue moving into eastern or up through eastern sections of Copiah County. Hazelhurst, you're next in line to deal with this. Gallman, you should start getting prepared. You're not under a tornado warning at this moment, but you should start getting prepared for a potential serious storm that's going to be impacting your area. We are working on getting additional information for you, reports of damage coming in from Franklin County, McCall Creek area. That was from the storm earlier. That's this storm, this exact storm cell that would have caused that, and we will have additional information for you on that shortly. Also watching other storms trying to get going right now on either side of the city there of Bogachita on US 51. We've got a couple thunderstorms in that area, although it's a lot messier to look at only because it's not as well organized as the cell is farther to the north. Farther south, we have a storm that is about to come out of Louisiana, and this one has a tornado warning attached with it. This could be a potential issue for Imminent and eventually Pike County within the next half hour to 45 minutes. So a dangerous situation there. Now we're going to look at our westernmost counties, because in the westernmost counties, we're keeping our eyes peeled on what's happening in and around the Vicksburg area. We have thunderstorms that are just about to overtake the eastern parishes of Louisiana, and they will be crossing the Mississippi River by about 5 p.m. or sooner. We may see that happen sooner in northern Sequina, but I'm really speaking to the Vicksburg area. For you folks in Vicksburg, you need to get ready for this. We've got a couple areas of tornadic storms that are approaching Vicksburg from the west. You have time to prepare. I suggest you use it wisely and activate your storm plan so you're in position where you need to be and you're not traveling, or at least not putting yourself in danger in this situation. In the Metro Jackson area right now, things are relatively quiet. There are these downpours moving through from south to north, but as far as the rest of the area goes, it's relatively quiet. As far as this storm coming out of Copiah County, eventually this will find its way up into the Metro Jackson area, probably going to be from the city of Jackson eastward, and that's going to happen also after 5 p.m. So there's a lot of things going on here that we want to alert you to. We are watching these showers in our easternmost counties. They just aren't showing the development that we're seeing in the southwest part of the state right now, and that's where it seems like these storms are taking advantage of a very intense atmosphere that's right. Now let's go look at the line, Ane, farther southwest. This is the main line of storms. It's now in central Louisiana and even over here on the border between Louisiana and Texas. I'm talking about west of Lake Charles by the Beaumont-Port Arthur area. Oh, yeah. That's a tornadic cell too. And this is where we are expecting this line to kind of merge together and kind of just congeal as we go through the early evening. Once all of this stuff can clear our area, and it seems like it's very lopsided, don't you, from northeast to southwest at this point, but once it does all that, then we can rest easy. But that's not going to happen until later on this evening, 9, 10 o'clock, maybe thereafter.
Yes, for sure. Do you think we could benefit from looking at not a long track model, but the hour by hour going throughout?
Take a look at it, because we use a high resolution model here. And what this high resolution model, it updates literally hourly. It takes in the data that it sees currently, and then we kind of get an output, so we can kind of plan the evening out that way. And so why don't you tell us what you're plotting on the screen?
All right, so we are seeing scattered storms just like what we kind of have out there right now. Now this model, it's not perfectly verifying right over top of where we're seeing storms right now, but it is giving us an indication that there are some cells out ahead of the main line. We're definitely seeing those at the moment, but then as we keep mentioning, that 5 o'clock hour, that's when we expect between 5 and 6 the stronger line that we've been tracking out in Louisiana with those widespread severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings. They even had confirmed tornadoes out there towards our west as well. That line moving into our area around the Vicksburg area between 5 and 6, and then continuing to track through the early evening hours. So those of us, we're seeing thunderstorms right now, but this isn't the end of it. We're gearing up for more widespread storms as opposed to just these isolated storms into the early evening hours after sunset. Continue to track those across the area into tonight, and then we'll finally be through with the worst of it by 10 p.m. moving out of our eastern counties. But we've had a very busy past couple of hours with these storms kicking off, and it's going to be a long early evening as we head into the next couple hours, because these storms, they're not slowing down. We see them ramping up across the area. We've got multiple storms that we are tracking now, and it does look like, though, some good news that I can tell you guys is that we've seen that tornado warning weaken that we've seen over parts of Copiah County. Now, it's definitely still in effect. You still need to be in your safe space, Hazelhurst, but we are not seeing the large damaging tornado that was on the ground. Now it has weakened, and that's why we're still under this red box. We still got rotation with the storm, but it's less organized. It doesn't have things together like it did several minutes ago, or in the past hour rather. We see that debris signature more scattered, so it's not as together as it was, but it's still rotation. It's still a strong thunderstorm, and if you're in Copiah County, especially in the Martinsville area, Hazelhurst, you want to be in that safe space. You still want to be taking that seriously. But that is looking better for those of us downstream of it. We're not seeing that tornado on the ground as we speak, and that's a good indication that it's weakening.
Yes.
And hopefully it'll continue to die down as we go over the next hour.
A great trend, if it can hold, And as you were saying about an hour ago, you were talking about how these storms tend to pulse up and pulse down in intensity. I'm not trying to be Dave Downer here, but I am trying to let you know that this is a situation where this storm could pop back to life here very quickly. Regardless of whether it's not an observed tornado, there's still a tornado warning in effect right now for the Hazelhurst area. And this storm will be over Hazelhurst in the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's already over Martinsville, basically, and it continues moving northeastward. But these storms tend to pulse up and down in intensity. Meteorologist Chase Franks now joins our coverage. He is monitoring the situation from another angle, and he's going to let us know what he's seeing right now as far as weather conditions across southwest Mississippi and eastern Louisiana. The storm system continues to crank up, Chase, and we're seeing not just isolated storms here, but we're seeing a line of storms coming in from the eastern parts of Louisiana.
Yeah, that's definitely right, Dave. We have a very busy start for the day as well. Off to the west, you see that very strong line of thunderstorms still developing, a couple tornadoes along that line, but all eyes have been on this one cell system just to the north of Brookhaven, crossing I-55 right now. We have confirmed reports that this storm system has lifted, which is good, but like Dave just said, it could easily come back down. It's become a much more disorganized cell. You can see it now, but still looking fairly strong, to be honest with you. And this is not something you should just wipe under the rug now that this storm system has lifted the tornado, because it's still capable of producing one. So if you are in Hazelhurst, Crystal Springs, off into the northeast of this cell, it's important that you still seek shelter immediately with the storm system. You can see the debris tracker, nothing too impressive right now compared to what we saw earlier, but still, this is something that is still a extremely dangerous situation. If you are in this red polygon in any way, along Highway 28, along I-55 in between Hazelhurst, Wesson, into portions now in Brookhaven, you are in the clear. That's good. But if you're north of Brookhaven, north of Wesson, you do need to be keeping a very close eye on this storm system as it does make its way off into the northeast. This storm system is still very much capable of producing the tornado. It's located 7 miles southwest of Hazelhurst and moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. The rotation is still there, so that is something that we are keeping a close eye on. It's still there, that light blue and the green mixing with each other, showing us the different directions. But again, it has weakened dramatically, and that's a very good thing, as it is getting ever so close to the Hazelhurst area. But still, it is very much capable of producing a tornado. So please, if you know anyone in the Hazelhurst community, give them a call, give them a heads up. If they live along Highway 51, I-55, Highway 28, inside Hazelhurst, and even off into the north and to the east. And that's not the only storm system that we are tracking. There's a lot that we're tracking here in the First Alert Weather Center. And again, this is just another look at the radar of it, still showing you that on the back end there's that little couplet just in that little notch there. So something to be mindful of. Brookhaven, you're getting a little bit of a thunderstorm as well. A lot of us are seeing widespread thunderstorms again, so be very cautious and be very mindful. I'll go through this one more time. Again, we are still seeing a little bit of a radar signature here in velocity. Again, it's not as tight as it was earlier, but still there. So that's important. It has the capability of producing a tornado. That doesn't mean that there's one on the ground right now. We can tell about that by the debris signature here. Again, it's very scattered, not seeing a little donut that we call it, where you can easily see in between all the red. That's what we're really looking for here with this storm system. We had confirmed reports of it on the ground earlier, so that's why we're still keeping a very close eye on it. The rotation has weakened, the tornado has lifted, but again, it still has the capability of producing a quick spin up. So please just be very cautious in the Hazelhurst community. Seek shelter immediately as you are looking at another view of it just traveling off into the northeast. It is expected to continue to track towards the Jackson Metro, pretty much areas east of I-55, towards the Florence and Crystal Springs area now. So again, if you live in that area, this is just your heads up. You're not under a warning at this moment, but still something to be mindful of. Another wide view showing you that we are still tracking one system further off to the south in Louisiana. If you live in Pike County in the Macomb area, something to be very mindful of, as this is expected to move towards your direction. So downstream of that warning is expected to be watching the system very, very closely. We're going to be very much closely monitoring that situation down near Pike County as it gets closer and closer. But again, that main line still well off to the west of the Mississippi, but Vicksburg, Natchez, and other areas towards the Mississippi River, you need to be on high alert as that system starts to make its way ever so close to you. But that's all I got for you right now. I'm going to pass it over to Dave Roberts for another look of what you can expect with this system, as well as the system down in Pike County. Dave?
All right, we continue monitoring what's going on right now with the latest tornado warning that is in Copiah County. Copiah County is where we have the one tornado warning right now in all of Mississippi, in central and south Mississippi. The storm cell is just very close to Interstate 55 now, very close to Hazelhurst. Just north of Hazelhurst, you've got Gallman, where we've got some heavy rain coming down, and that spreads eastward across 55 and US 51. But the storm is confined right now to parts of Copiah County, and that's it. We are watching several storms that are approaching our westernmost counties. They're getting closer and closer, and this is a concern for those of you that live in the western part of the state. I'm talking mainly Warren County around Vicksburg, and the storms will be in your area probably at about close to sunset, 5-ish. I would say at this point. And then we're watching the storms a little bit farther south that are straddling the line here between Mississippi and Louisiana. At this point, we haven't seen a warning get any further into Imminent County, and I'm curious whether this storm is maybe moving more eastward than northward right now. And I don't want to speculate too much on it, but we just haven't really seen it jump the line into Mississippi just yet, although it shows it's still going northeastward. But again, there may be just enough of an eastward nudge to it, or maybe I'm just kind of rushing the process. But bottom line is that's what's going on right now with all the storms out there. We're looking at 4:45 for the actual storm to the warning to be in effect for Copiah County. 4:45 is how long the tornado warning will remain in effect. It is no longer an observed or confirmed tornado on the ground. In fact, spotters have said that the storm lifted up off the ground, so it's no longer there and present. But this thing was probably on the ground close to an hour, right? I mean, maybe a little bit more than that, which in my book would be almost a long track tornado where it started out. We started covering it here, and it moved all the way up into Copiah County during the course of an hour.
Right, that's definitely what it seemed like, but we'll have to wait until the National Weather Service is able to do a more detailed survey to tell exactly what the track was and whether or not it was lifting. But I do have a quick update on that storm that we were tracking to our south, and we were mentioning it. It's in the it's in the northern parishes of Louisiana right now, at least the ones that border Mississippi, near Emmet County and Pike County. Now, I've been reading the New Orleans National Weather Service chat, and they are saying that they're watching closely. This storm is still organized, and it is likely going to be affecting southern Mississippi. So those of us in Pike County and Emmet County, you do want to still keep your eye on this, especially as it is tracking, as of right now, if it stays along its current path, towards the Macomb area. We see rotation with this storm. Its radar indicated that it could be capable of producing a tornado, but it does not have a confirmed tornado right now. But we saw within the past hour how quickly that other storm evolved. So you want to take this seriously just because you're in the track of it. Further down the line, we are expecting this storm to move into southern Mississippi within the next several minutes. This warning that's over in Louisiana, it's until 4:30. So as we get closer to that time, we'll see whether or not they they plan to expand that further into southern Mississippi. But it's just something to be mindful of, that there is an area of rotation. There's a strong thunderstorm that is going to be approaching our southern counties coming up within the next hour to half hour.
Absolutely. And right now, just past 4:15, 4:17 is the time. We have about another half hour left on a tornado warning that is currently in effect for Copiah County, including the city of Hazelhurst. Approximately, let's tag it if we can, just to update folks on it. It'll tell us how many people are currently under this warning. And you can see that the storm is currently over Hazelhurst right now, with 4,300 people being impacted by the storm. It goes until 4:45. The good news on this, as bad as it is with being a tornado warning, the good news is that it is radar indicated only at this point, which is a big improvement over the observed and large and dangerous tornado that was obviously causing considerable damage. As I've been saying, this storm will go east of the fairgrounds in Copiah County, and it will continue up to about Crystal Springs, and then it will really cross pretty much Highway 27 here and wind up closer to the Hopewell and maybe Beech Grove area as an intense thunderstorm, should it not spring back to life as a tornado. And that is a possibility. As we're watching all the storms out there this afternoon, they're all have the potential to pulse up and pulse down in intensity. But, you know, from where we were an hour ago this looks like a different storm, but there it is. It looks like it's just east of US 51, at least the couplet that we normally look at, just east of US 51, if I'm not mistaken. What do you think about that?
Right, and I don't want to speak prematurely, but it does seem like this last scan, that looks a little bit better than it did, or not better, I'll say more organized.
Yeah.
Looks a little bit more organized, which is worse than it did within the past scan. And we've talked about the process of cycling with these storms, that they'll weaken, but then they could strengthen back together as we still have fuel to support the thunderstorm as it moves across the area. So I'll kind of go backwards in time a little bit and track that over the past hour or so. We see that it was very messy earlier at around 4 o'clock when we had our meteorologist Chase Franks talking about this, but then as that continues to move further north, it looks to me like that's tightening back up.
Yeah, it
what
does.
Do you think? Yes.
Yeah, and Chase, you want to chime in about this? What do you think about that particular storm in Copiah County? It's just south of Hazelhurst now, but unfortunately it looks like it is kind of springing back to life a little bit.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It's just to the northeast of that Martinsville area and just to the south of Hazelhurst. So if you live in the eastern side of the Hazelhurst area, more towards Shady Grove, I believe, is where we should be looking at the most concerned spot. And again, it could easily drop a tornado. It's known for producing that strong tornado earlier. I was just looking at the video of it crossing the Highway 550 area to the west of Brookhaven, and it was a very large system that did track over the highway, and we're still keeping a very close eye on this storm. It does have that capability very easily spin up something, and I'm looking at all the velocity signatures. I'm looking at the correlation coefficient here showing us the capability of seeing some debris, and it's not looking impressive, but I can't say that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Again, it's just a system that we need to very closely monitor. I would not be surprised if they continue it. I'm reading the chat right now, and it seems they're talking about the system off to the west, not for this one system, just to the east of Hazelhurst now. But if you are in anywhere in this polygon, just to the north of Martinsville, you're in the clear. You don't have to worry about this storm system anymore. But again, still be monitoring the weather throughout the rest of the day today, because this is just one of many storms that we're expecting. If you're in Shady Grove, areas east of Highway 51 in Hazelhurst, off into the northeast as well, Highway 28, Highway 472, you need to be in your shelter right now, as this system has been known to produce a tornado. I'm not saying that there's one right now. The spotter confirmed that it did come back up, but if you are anywhere off into the northeast, into Hazelhurst, Copiah County, Crystal Springs, Beech Grove, Terry by 450, if it holds together, again, it does have that capability. It looks to be strengthening just a little bit to went through that kind of cycle that we see fairly often with tornadic systems. So again, we're going to be very closely monitoring this storm. It's making its way to the northeast. There's still a little bit of a debris signature, or not a debris signature, velocity signature. The debris is not necessarily looking any too impressive. Again, it's all over the place. And again, we're still keeping a very close eye on that system off to the south again, to the southwest of Pike County. So if you are in Pike County and Macomb, the warning has not yet been issued for y'all, but I would not be surprised if it's issued downstream here in the next 30 or so minutes, because this storm is looking to hold together pretty nice. So again, we're going to be keeping y'all updated regards to that system as well as the other one. And even for the people that are in western Mississippi, just look off to the west, northwest of Vicksburg, into, I believe that's Issaquena County right now.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, just off to the north
We're
and the
getting
west.
close on that one.
Very, very close on that one. So again, this goes for a lot of places towards the southern delta. That line is getting ever so close to you. Please seek shelter immediately. Keep a very close eye on all of these cells. Right now, that cell that's just to the north of the Brookhaven area looks to be moving relatively quickly and losing a lot of momentum. But again, please just make sure you seek shelter if you're in that polygon. Do not take this with just a grain of salt. We're talking about a very serious and dangerous situation. This tornado warning might look very, very small. The system is does still have that rotation, so it still has the capability, even though it's looking a lot weaker.
Looks like it's got a little bit of a tail there right on the end, at least from the radar perspective that we're looking at. It does not look as, I would say, maybe as intense as it did just a few minutes ago, just to reiterate what you've been saying on it. But, you know, we got to still keep an eye on all these storms. They're all sus, if you will, so you give me the side eye on that. But they're, you know, all these storms need to be watched. They can't all be trusted because they're pulsing up and down in this type of environment. They can really tap into the weather very quickly. This is an isolated, discrete thunderstorm cell that took advantage of the environment. I am kind of curious, Nate, what do you think? You think that cell to the south of it by Weston may have zapped a little bit of the energy? Because now they are starting to block the inflow to this particular storm cell. So that might have helped out here.
Right, that's definitely a possibility, and that would be a very good thing for those of us, especially in Copiah County, but even to the north as that storm continues to track towards the north and east. It does look like, as we've been talking about for the past couple minutes, it's weakening, but there are some more scattered thunderstorms in southern Mississippi that are kind of following along behind that, and a good thing is they are competing with each other now when they're close together, and they could be cutting each other off from some of that energy. There is a little bit of rotation associated with that storm, but it's much less organized. As you can see, the greens and reds are kind of scattered all over the place. So that's not something that we are looking at to be concerned about for severe weather.
It's just a help. It's just helping us probably in this situation.
Right. It's good to be disorganized in this sense with these thunderstorms.
Well, that makes me feel better. It's good to be disorganized sometimes. So there you go.
With the thunderstorms.
Right. Can we go a little bit further east? Let's go to McGee. And I want to show a heavy cell that just popped up. From the city of McGee westward. This is a brand new thunderstorm cell. Wasn't there a few minutes ago. And this one's now starting to flourish in the environment as it moves across McGee. It's going to cross Highway 49, move to Martinville, not Martinsville, but Martinville, and over by Mendenhall possibly as it continues to grow northward a little bit. So this is the Dry Creek area of northeast Simpson County. We're going to be looking at possibly some heavy rain before long, but be curious to see if this storm has anything to it and possibly tries to develop further. You see it's moving north at a pretty good clip right now. Not seeing any rotation to it, but it's just still in its infancy. It's still something that's interesting to me when you see the red popping up so quickly on a cell like that. Let's go back farther south to Pike County and give you some coverage right now for that storm cell that is sitting just to your southwest. So we've got an actual thunderstorm that's about to go across, just moved across Highway 48. This is going to go across Highway 98 in the next couple of minutes by Holmesville. And then we're watching the actual big cell that is now entering Imminent County. This is coming out of northern Louisiana or southeastern Louisiana, our northernmost parishes here. And it's going to be moving over Gillsburg in Imminent County here in the next few minutes. Already you're getting some heavy rain, but if this storm needs to be watched too. So far it's just radar indicated, which is good, but we're going to monitor it. Unfortunately, that's a pretty interesting couplet southwest of Chipola, wouldn't you say?
Right, it definitely has that rotation that we've been mentioning earlier with the inflow and the outflow being close together. It's there. You can definitely see why there is a warning on this storm. And the language that I've been seeing so far from the National Weather Service is that the storm has been maintaining itself. They've still been looking at our southern Mississippi counties and considering if they should, but for right now, it's not looking like that one is going to be continued downstream for this moment, but it is an area of interest. Even if it's not a tornadic storm, we have some rotation associated with it. There's heavy rainfall, so it's something that you do take into consideration if you're in Amite County, especially if you're in the eastern part of Amite County or western Pike County near Magnolia up to Macomb. This storm is going to be heading over your area. It has heavy rainfall. We've got lightning associated with it, and we are in the environment where any thunderstorms that we see forming, they could quickly become severe. This storm has been radar indicated tornado warning over in Louisiana. We'll continue to watch this one closely as it moves over into our Mississippi counties. So just be sure to keep your eye on it over the next hour as that approaches our southern Mississippi counties, or as the rotation approaches rather, and we'll be keeping you updated on whether or not this is strengthening. There definitely is some rotation indicated, but good news for right now is that we cannot confirm a tornado. Definitely no debris being lofted by this right now. We just see that there is rotation with it. It is a kind of discrete cell. There's a lot of thunderstorms forming up around it right now, but it's not part of a main line, that's for sure. It's off to itself enough to where we could have to kind of worry about that one strengthening potentially as it moves into our area.
Yeah, that's the thing. Let's take a look at that storm that's over Copiah County again real quickly. They've peeled back the tornado warned part of Copiah County some more, so it's a little bit smaller. The storm cell is actually just outside, almost about to move out of the tornado warning, and it's going to be over. It's over the Copiah County Airport. So if you know where the Copiah County Airport is, it's really east of Gallman here. It's northeast of Hazelhurst, and the storm is sitting over the airport right now and moving northeastward. So it should be be crossing Highway 27 in the next few minutes. This tornado warning goes another 17 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel it early, just because the actual tornado or the tornadic cell is outside of that box at this point. They're not giving us an indication, at least that I have not seen. They're giving us an indication they're going to continue this tornado warning downstream, which is certainly some good news. But still, it's an intense thunderstorm that's going to be impacting areas of eastern Crystal Springs, over through about the eastern part of Gallman. Again, quite a distance away at this point from US 51 as the storm lifts more northeastward.
And I'd hate to interrupt you, but we do have that warning, the storm that we were just talking about a minute ago. They have decided to extend that warning over from Louisiana into southern Mississippi. So that's Emmett County and Pike County, what we've been talking to you guys about for the past, I'm going to say, half hour or so. It is now starting to move into our area, and the National Weather Service does think that it warrants another another tornado warning. Rather, this is still radar indicated. We haven't confirmed anything on the ground, but this rotation that we're watching, it does look, it's strong enough to be an area of concern, and that still, it looks like it's still in Louisiana parishes right now, but it will be moving into Emmett County shortly and tracking further on to impact areas including the Gillsburg community, the Gladding, and then moving just outside of that tornado warning, Percy Quinn State Park, that area. So if you're near the Pike County, Emmett County line, this is something that you want to keep in mind. It's worth taking shelter for. We don't have a confirmed tornado on this, but we have rotation, and that's pretty much all it takes in this kind of situation with the ingredients that we have in store, with the instability, the storm energy that we have out there. It wouldn't take much for this storm to strengthen, so be sure to take this warning seriously. That's for the eastern part of Emmett County and also western Pike County. Eventually down the line, that would be heading into Macomb, but the warning has been extended into southern Mississippi, so that's something that we want to keep in mind for those of us in the southern counties.
Now, this is different than the other tornado warning we had a little while ago. This is a radar indicated tornado warning that is now in effect for this area. By the way, on Interstate 55, this would be between exits or mile markers 6 and 9. All right, so we're talking about Osika is exit 1 and mile marker 1, and then you go up to about about 5 miles north of Osika. That's where the actual warning starts to be in effect, and it's a sliver of the western part, including Terry's Creek of Pike County. It's just south of the Percy Quinn State Park, but I will tell you, I got to put you on alert if you're in Macomb or you're in Fernwood or Magnolia or Summit, because this storm may eventually come into your area once it gets beyond here. Can we do a storm plot just to let people know? This one's moving, by the way, at 25 miles per hour, Renee, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. It is a radar indicated tornado at this point in time. We've been seeing rotation on the screen with it. The tornado warning will go until 5:15. It's a 45-minute tornado warning that is currently in effect. So as we track it from the Chipola area of Louisiana, these are some of the towns that it's going to be near. Gillsburg, 5 o'clock. Huron, 5:08. East Fork, 5:20. Magnolia, 5:33. Macomb at 5:44. Holmesville at 5:56. Again, tracking a radar indicated tornado that is now coming out of Louisiana and will be moving into southern and southwestern Mississippi, Pike, as well as Emmett counties during the next 45 minutes. A tornado warning is in effect. We'll continue monitoring this storm as well as the other storms that we are currently watching for you. Let's go back to the big screen here, show you what's going on. And it looks like the tornado warning has now been canceled for Copiah County, so that's good news. All right, tornado warning canceled for Copiah County, but we are now paying more attention to what's going on just to the west of the Mississippi River, and I mean literally just to the west of the Mississippi River. We have an area of tornadoes. This is the main line that we've been talking about today. This is the northern extent of that main line that stretches back into southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana, and this main line is going to be moving across the river here within the next hour.
I need a quick break.
Okay. Chase, you want to take over the radar spot, if you would, for just a moment? Yes, and you can see here that we've got tornado warnings in effect right now for the eastern part of Louisiana, and severe thunderstorm warnings currently in effect for northeast Louisiana as well. All of this activity is going to be moving across the river here within the next half hour to 45 minutes. So just keep that in mind. We have a tornado watch in effect for most of our area now. All right, so this is going to put you into places like Rolling Fork, Yazoo City, Lexington, Tallulah. All this is going to happen here in the next few hours. I know it's going to be kind of a long evening. I hate to say it like that, but Chase, we're kind of ready for that, aren't we? We've been talking about this for several days now. So we're prepared to basically give you the coverage on these storms. I hope they don't hold together that long. The only thing I can tell you on the activity in northeastern Louisiana, while it's been tornadic with a lot of warnings, we just haven't had a lot of reports so far of damage. And that's the good news on this, wouldn't you say?
I would definitely say so. Thankfully, a lot of these storms off to our west have been more of that linear structure, sticking with the more damaging wind aspect, the large hail, as well as that embedded tornado within the line. But again, this has been a day that we have been talking about for, I guess, really the past couple of days. We really focused hard on Christmas Day, and then as soon as Christmas ended, we jumped right into this to make sure that you had plenty of time to stay updated throughout your day today. And looking at it, again, there's a lot of isolated showers. They actually just allowed that warning to expire here in Copiah County, and thankfully it's not expected to continue. That cell has just been going through a lot of just the cycle phase, and again, it was just maintaining its strength as it was moving just to the north. But again, look at that cell that produced a very large and dangerous tornado earlier in Franklin County. It's still making its way just to the east of Crystal Springs, so I want you to be aware of it, just because it did have that capability of producing a very, very strong tornado. So thankfully it seems to have weakened. We do have that one cell just now to the south and to the west of the Macomb area over here again in Pike County. So if you do have any friends or family down in Macomb, Magnolia, anywhere to the north or along Highway 568, give them a call, give them a heads up. Even though we are going to be tracking the system making its way off to the northeast, let's take a look at the velocity of it. Still, it has weakened a little bit. You can see that red and the green mixing in. Earlier, it was a much more tight spiral sort of look into much of the Louisiana area. Again, as it's making its way closer to the Mississippi-Louisiana line, we're seeing it again kind of fluctuate a little bit. We've had no confirmed reports. We can see that here on our debris tracker. Actually, this is the most recent scan of it, showing us a little bit of a ball here, Dave.
Yeah, there's something going on now. Yeah, unfortunately.
This wasn't there the last scan.
And that's the thing we're going to be seeing on these storms, right? We're going to be seeing these storms taking shape. And, you know, before, no, we had not seen the debris on it. And we're using a radar that's pretty much the same distance as it was before when it was just west of Chipola, Louisiana. That's exactly where we've been seeing this actual storm cell that's been developing. But now we're seeing a debris ball, unfortunately, coming across this part of Louisiana. So take heed. If you're in Imminent County, this is a very serious situation now. Anytime we see a debris ball, that's pretty much our telltale sign. We've got a tornado on the ground that's lofting debris in the air. Just to plot it here for you, it's going to be near Percy Quinn at about 5:03, then the Macomb Airport at around 5:09, downtown Macomb 5:14, Blueberry Hill at 5:28. So this is our newest tornado warning, the only tornado warning that we currently have right now going in Mississippi, and it includes Pike as well as Imminent counties, eastern Imminent, western Pike County at this point in time. And we are watching a radar tracked tornado, a radar indicated tornado that is moving northeast at about 25 miles per hour. This tornado warning will go until 5:15 this evening. Lots of new information coming in. Tornado watch now being extended, folks. We're getting more counties added to this tornado watch, so that's a new development there. If we can put that up on the screen just to show you, this will now include Pike and Wallfall counties. Pike and Wallfall counties are being added to the tornado watch. This goes until 9 p.m. this evening. So, you know, we mentioned, if you've been watching our live online reports, we've been doing hourly top of the hour reports today on WLBT. We've been saying that there's a pretty good indication that we are going to be watching this watch either get replaced or just extended across the area. Now, a watch is issued when there's the potential for something. So in this case, a tornado watch is issued when that means there's a potential for tornadoes in your area. So we have this little graphic here just to give you an example of what the difference is between a watch and a warning. When it's a watch, stay aware. That means this could happen. a warning, take action. It's happening now. So again, when a tornado warning is put into effect, that's when you need to act immediately. When that watch is issued, it's a good idea to make your plan and kind of have it together so you're ready to spring into action as needed. But at this point in time, we are just talking about a tornado watch for most of central and southwest Mississippi and a tornado warning that is currently in effect for parts of Pike County as well as Imminent County. So keep that in mind. That's where the worst of this weather is currently located. If you could tag that in real quick, just want to see what our population is that's currently in this warning. And it's very rural, so we're really not getting we're not getting a population marker on it, but that's coming out of St. Helena Parish in northern or southeastern Louisiana, in the northern parts of southeast Louisiana. And this storm is headed towards Macomb. Although Macomb, you are not under a tornado warning right now, it would be a good idea for you to get in a position so you can act quickly if a tornado warning is issued. I was going to say, where is my, do you see what I do? I'm going to go over here and grab it. I have a prop, and I show this, and I can do this with a little time to show you folks, but you know, we are a fan here. I know Anae, she has one of these, right? Do you have one of these? No?
I have a bike helmet.
She has a bike helmet. Well, and that works just as well, right?
Right, any kind.
So, you know, this is my helmet. I do a lot of projects. I don't wear this when I'm at work too often, but the bottom line is this works really well. It's a hard hat. Hopefully I didn't mess up my hair. Very expensive haircut. But hopefully you have something like that at your disposal too. And it doesn't have to look attractive. It can be anything you'd like, a football helmet, a bike helmet. What was the other thing you were saying to me before?
Motorcycle helmet, a baseball helmet, anything, if you played any kind of sport and you had to, anything that can basically be designed to protect your head, that's what you're going to want if you end up in a situation where there's debris being lofted, like we've seen those debris signatures. That's the most dangerous part of a tornado most of the time. And most of the injuries are going to occur because of debris. So that's what you want to protect yourself from. That's why anything that's designed to cover your head, like we just saw the hard hat or a bike helmet or any kind of helmet, that's going to be very useful for your safe place.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I speak from experience, having a tree fall through my home, missing it by just a couple of minutes. A helmet might have made all the difference in the world if I were still at home. So these are things that you really need to take seriously, and they're not expensive things. If you don't have them, they're not that expensive to get. If you do have them, it's a great tool. I've seen people use the spaghetti strainers. I mean, whatever it takes, you want to protect your head, because when you're talking about a tornado and when you're talking about people that get injured in a tornado, a lot of it is from flying debris. So it's important that you take that into consideration as part of your tornado plan, just putting it out there. The other things in flashlights, also making sure you got gas in your car, first aid kits, all the things that you need basically to make sure you stay safe through and after a storm, in case it's a few hours before you can get any real assistance or help. Right now we're watching this line of storms. I just want to give people a perspective on what the main event is. This is really the crux of the event coming out of central and eastern Louisiana. This is the line that's going to push across our area over the next 3 or 4 hours. And that's about how long it's going to take before we can get it out of our system. So that once that line clears out of here, that's it. This event's over. But until this line moves through, we are under the gun here and watching for the potential of more spin-ups that could develop ahead of this line. So it's 4:40 now. Sunset is about, if I'm not mistaken, we're getting longer days now, so sunset's about a half hour or so, 30, 45 minutes from now. So Anae, why don't you put it in perspective what that all means as far as daylight and how that's affecting some of these storms?
So as we have seen throughout the afternoon, some of us did see some clips of sunshine or some sun peeking through. I know we definitely saw that here near the Jackson Metro, and that's what added to the instability that we've been talking about, the storm energy that it will use to strengthen, or that the storms use to strengthen as they move into our area. Now after daylight, after the sun goes down, we won't be adding more of that daytime heating, but we're still going to have to deal with what we saw from earlier in the day, because it does take, as most of you know, with temperature wise, it takes several hours to cool off. So even though the sun is going to be going down soon, that doesn't mean that the storms are all going to run out of energy. Storms that move across the area between 6 to 7 p.m., they could still be packing a punch with them, because they're still going to be accessing all the energy that we built up earlier in the day, as well as some more large-scale things going on, like the low-level jet. We've been talking about some strong winds aloft. There's a lot going on feeding these storms, so they're not going to have any trouble strengthening and forming tornadoes that touch the ground like we've been tracking across this evening. So even though the day is winding down, that does not mean the event is winding down. If the line has not reached you by sunset, then you still need to keep an eye on it because it still has the potential to bring you some severe, some damaging storms.
Kind of like the hottest days of the summer sometimes don't even come until September. You know, even though the peak of summer is what we consider July, all right? A lot of times in Mississippi, we don't even get the hottest stuff until August and September. And of course, the sun's already setting earlier in the days then, but that's what that residual heat from summer takes. So these things take time to work their way out of the atmosphere. And in the case of daylight, you know, we've had a lot of sunshine break through today. You've seen a lot of sunshine. We've seen it here outside the station, but you've probably been seeing it in your neighborhood as well. That cooks up the atmosphere. Normally you think, oh, sunny skies, that means nice weather. Not in these situations. It adds fuel to the fire. Now, even if you've had cloud cover, you got to go above the clouds. It's still sunny in that part of the atmosphere. So maybe it's not your part of the atmosphere, but maybe you go 3,000 feet off the ground and higher. That's still cooking and getting unstable. So we've got to take all this into account here. With this weather. And right now you can kind of make out what's going on here. This is the leading edge of that front that's going to push across our area in the next few hours. And then ahead of it, this is kind of like a little highway that's formed, literally paralleling Interstate 55, wouldn't you say? And this is where a lot of these discrete, isolated storms, we got to watch very closely because they're far enough out ahead of the line where they're tapping into the atmosphere and the energy and everything that goes along with it.
Right, and that was actually reminding me of a graphic that we've been looking at since last night, and that is the significant tornado parameter or the significant tornado potential. We were tracking areas where there's a lot of energy that could strengthen tornadoes if they do form, and we were talking about earlier how the models that we've been looking at were showing that stronger in the southern portion of the area, and that's exactly where we have seen the tornadoes so far. I just think that is worth noting when we look at the probability of stronger storms forming tornadoes. So what do you think about that, Dave? Would you agree that it's been kind of lining up? We said it would be stronger further south.
Yeah.
That's happened so far early in the
It's
evening.
that southwestern corner of the state that has been in the sweet spot, if you will,
Yeah.
At least for now. And, you know, it's interesting because, and follow me for a second on this. We were looking at this yesterday in the studio. There was an area actually northwest of Jackson that popped up that was good for like late this afternoon, early this evening. Then it quickly goes away and it transitions into this. So we're actually seeing it kind of play out. The models are really close on this, at least right now. This suggests that we're still going to have a lot of energy to tap into going along and south of the interstate, Interstate 20 specifically, going into this evening. So if anything, maybe the weather improves north, but at this point, it's matching up because we've got a lot of energy with that particular storm cell in northeastern Louisiana.
Right. It'll go back to around 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes. Outside of the Vicksburg area?
That's exactly what that's showing.
Right.
So it shows lower numbers, but lower numbers, they're not zero. So that's what I always look at. They're not zero, there's still that potential that you've got to take seriously. We're talking about a scale here of 1 to 10. Really, the scale's 0 to 10 because there are plenty of zeros that you could have. We're just not seeing them right this moment because everybody kind of has some tornadic opportunity. The most active part of this storm system, at least right now, is in northeast Louisiana and southern areas of Mississippi. I am curious if we can take a look at the line in southern Louisiana. If you can widen out a little bit, I'm putting you on the spot here, but right there, we're still seeing a pretty active area south of Lake Charles near the Cameron Parish of Louisiana. We have a tornado warning. It's observed considerable damage with that cell. So this is where we've got one end, right? The bookends of this storm system are kind of coming together. You got the one end there, you got the other end all the way up here, and then here we are in Mississippi with this open atmosphere to the Gulf of Mexico and a southeasterly wind that's kind of feeding in this way, and the storm system's coming in from the west, and you see what happens? You're getting this veering of the wind. Winds coming in from the west, winds coming in from the southeast. It creates that overall spin, and that's why we're seeing these storms that are in this open highway, if you will, an alley out ahead of the line. Yeah, they're going to spin, they're going to rotate, and they're going to potentially turn into something. And you know, I just want to keep watching what's going on here. I guess my eyes keep going south of Interstate 20 down to the Louisiana border because I think this is where we could see more of these discrete cells popping up.
Right. Good news about that one storm that we were tracking, the warning that kind of clips the edge of Pike County. that is not looking too organized. It's not looking overly impressive right now, but then as I say that, another scan and it's trying to strengthen back up. That's what happens with these storms. They go through cycles, and like we've been talking about all night, the main story is the potential. The potential is there, and that's why we need to watch storms. Even if they don't look impressive at the moment, there's enough environment there. There's, like Dave was talking about, there's the rotation in the atmosphere that they can tap into. There's the energy. So even if they don't look impressive one moment, it's worth still keeping note of the rotation that's still in the southern part of Emmett County. It looks like the National Weather Service is not extending that at the moment into portions of Pike County, but that is one storm that we are watching. And another thing that's worth mentioning, when we were talking about southern Louisiana, this storm right here where we see the pink box, that was also a confirmed large dangerous tornado in southern Louisiana. So these storms, they're very active further out towards our west. So even though it's already been a long couple of hours here talking about these storms in the southern part of our viewing area, it's far from over. We still see those two lines. They're actively producing weather in Louisiana, and they still have the potential to do that as they move into Mississippi. So it's important to stay awake, stay weather aware over these next couple of hours heading into the early evening, because we have that, once again, I'm going to use that word potential. We have a lot of that in our atmosphere that we could continue to see these strong thunderstorms. We continue to see possibly some more tornadoes as these lines, these multiple lines of storms that are currently over Louisiana are mostly just made one big one towards the north and then another smaller one towards the south. These lines are approaching our area, and they will have the ability or the potential to form some damaging storms.
So kind of interesting right this moment because they withdrew the Pike County portion of the tornado warning. All right, well, that's good news for folks in Pike County. We still have to watch the storm, though, that's sitting there in southern parts of Imminent County. And this is still moving towards Macomb. Now, it's coming down pretty hard in Macomb. We are getting some heavy rain in the Macomb area, but this storm will eventually be moving in that direction over the next 20 or 30 minutes. So even though you're getting some rough weather now in Macomb, this storm might lift there. And it looks like this is going a little more northward than eastward. And I think that explains why they possibly removed the tornado warning portion of central Pike County.
Right, and over time, like you mentioned, those changing directions, they may be trying to split later on. That is a little bit too early to say, but that is important to note. The rotating part of that storm, it seems to be drifting more towards the north, whereas the storm over Macomb is going towards the east. So these storms that are kind of forming out ahead of the main line, they can kind of take on a mind of their own as they are just moving into an environment where there's a lot of energy to use up. They might just be trying to take advantage of that, whatever they can get a hold of. But either way, it is very important to keep your eye on this. We're still seeing some rotation in Emmett County, in the southern portion of Emmett County. So if we zoom in and see which communities, it looks like the Gladding area is going to be to the west of Gillsburg. It's looking like you're not going to take a direct hit from that, especially with the storm moving more towards the north within the past couple of scans. So I would say if you're near the East Fork area down the line, maybe Liberty, if this can hold up, then you're going to want to keep your eye on this right now. It's just rotation. Radar indicated that this thunderstorm could be capable of producing a tornado down the line, and that we definitely agree with that as what we've seen throughout the evening. These storms, it doesn't take much for them to strengthen from just a weak rotation into being a confirmed tornado. So it's important to watch this right now, but the only thing that we are seeing in Emmett County for the time being is that radar indicated rotation. We're not seeing currently a signature with that at the moment, but it is important to continue to watch as pretty much anything is possible as we head into these next couple of hours, for sure.
All right, and we've been gathering video and pictures, and we want to check in now. We're going to speak with Bruce Jenkins, a Brookhaven resident, and at the same time we're going to talk to Bruce Jenkins. We're also going to show some video, but Bruce, from what I understand, thanks for joining us this afternoon. From what I understand, you actually saw the tornado a short time ago, I guess about an hour and a half ago now, moving through Franklin County. Is that correct? Can you hear me, Bruce?
Yes.
Oh,
Hello?
okay, there you are. Yes, sir. So tell us what you saw this afternoon in Franklin County when you were out there earlier.
Oh, well, it was about 30 seconds before we got to the area where it come through. Traffic had stopped. Really didn't know what all had happened.
And this is the video that we see right now. Looks like that's some of the damage. So you saw quite a bit. You came in, it looks like right after the tornado, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we didn't we didn't see it come through, but I was about 15 vehicles back, so it had just happened.
Wow.
But power lines were down, and you could see it looked like it was moving north. It made a mess.
Yeah, it looks like it did. How wide do you think that damages? Looks like it goes on for a while there. From what we can see, the trees are on either side of the highway, somewhere in the median.
Yeah, that looked like probably 50 or 60 foot wide of trees down through there, and it went for a long ways.
Now, were you headed, if you don't mind me asking, were you headed back into Brookhaven, or you were coming out of Brookhaven?
I was headed into Brookhaven.
Okay, so you were on your way into town, and yeah, I could see the cars were having a tough time. It looks like they had to navigate quite a bit of debris sitting in the roadway there.
Yes, sir. They had to get a front end loader, it looked like, to get a lot of that debris out.
Yeah, and it looks like there's traffic backed up there a little bit as well. But you didn't see any injuries. Have you heard any reports of injuries?
Oh, no, sir, not yet. Everybody made it through that was right there in the traffic.
Okay, so if you're 10 miles southwest of Brookhaven, that's around McCall Creek, right?
Yeah, it was actually, I think, in between McCall Creek. So I was probably about 10 minutes from Brookhaven.
Okay, so you're really close in then. Okay,
Yeah.
you're really in the northeast part of Franklin County. Well, that had to be a scary trip, not one. Fortunately, I guess timing's everything in life, right? And you came there after the storm, not during it, so that's good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see that 18-wheeler. Was he damaged at all, or did he just pull off just to not drive through the mess?
Yeah, he just pulled off to the side.
Got it. All right. Well, listen, Bruce Jenkins, we appreciate you watching WLBT and checking in with us and supplying your video to First Alert Weather. We hope you stay safe the rest of your Saturday, and thank you very much. Again, we appreciate anybody who sends video or pictures our way through the free First Alert Weather app. Only do so when you can do it safely. In Bruce Jenkins' case, he was just a few minutes behind the tornado and in a safe spot to take that video. We appreciate him doing that. This is a current live view as to what's going on with the radar out there right now. Northeast Louisiana, very active with multiple tornado warnings now in effect for Northeast Louisiana. These storms will be entering Issaquah County very shortly. This is a part of the line of storms that is a very vigorous part of this line of storms. It will continue moving eastward. Eagle Lake, you are in front of it. You will be in the weather here very soon, already crossing the river just about. Vicksburg eventually, we still think it's going to be sometime after 5 in Vicksburg, about 5:30. I've been talking to some folks in Vicksburg that are getting ready for this storm. They've been watching us preparing most of the afternoon since we've been on TV talking about it. But this is the main line of storms. So if you live close to the Mississippi River, and I'm really talking to you in Issaquah, Warren counties right now, this weather is going to cross your path probably over the next hour, and then you're done for the rest of the night. But unfortunately, you got to go through the next hour beforehand. So we want you to make sure that you're on alert, especially for you folks in Sharkey County. Going to single you out for a second. Rolling Fork, Issaquah, as well as Warren counties. This little area here, all right, is going to be under it. It's going to be under some rough weather. Even if you're not under a tornado warning, you're still going to have some severe storms coming across your area over the next few minutes or so. So again, we are watching multiple tornado warnings that are going to be coming across the river very soon, impacting many areas of western Mississippi. Let's go back to the bigger view here. Not much happening in the Jackson metro area, except some downpours that come by from time to time. Otherwise, not much else happening right now. Farther south, we're watching a couple of cells. That one that made it through McGee, the other one west of Monticello. Heavy rain over Macomb and Summit currently. And then we've got a pretty good indication of the couplet there, right? The inflow and the outflow of Nave that's sitting over Imminent County, just northwest of Gillsburg and just southeast of Liberty.
Right, that's not insignificant, that couplet. Now, it's definitely not the most impressive thing that we've seen this afternoon, but it's not non-existent. It's the strongest rotation that we are seeing right now in our southern Mississippi counties. So it's definitely something that you need to be keeping a close eye on, especially if you are in the Gladding area. It's moving directly towards you. East Fork, you're just outside of that tornado warning, but this rotation is holding together enough to be notable as we look on the radar. I'm just going to quickly check that debris signature. Now, it doesn't look like we have a strong debris signature. We can't confirm a tornado on the ground, but we definitely can confirm rotation. And these wind speeds are not insignificant. I'm going to do a quick check on some of these right now. What we're seeing in the 40s, that's not bad for rotation. And then a little bit further back, we'd see stronger than that if I can take some of these numbers away from the screen. Not bad. Definitely, it's not the strongest, but it is a radar couplet. We've been mentioning when you see those winds coming in different directions close together, that indicates that we have some strong rotation in the storm. We're seeing that with this one. I haven't heard much word about whether or not this is going to be continued, this warning, but it is still in effect right now for the eastern portion of Imminent County, especially the southeastern portion. But I can go ahead and tell some people that you are in the clear of that. If you're in the Galesburg area, then the storm is moving.
We have a new tornado warning now in effect. A new tornado warning just going into effect for our lower Delta counties. This is a new tornado warning for northwestern Warren County, southeastern Washington County, northwest Yazoo County, Issaquena County, southwest Humphreys County, and Sharkey County. This involves several counties, as you can tell. This goes until 6 p.m. this evening. A tornado warning in effect. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Transylvania, Louisiana. That's 7 miles southeast of Lake Providence. It is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So potential tornado right there, right in this area, just moved across Highway 65. It is now about to cross the river and make it to the community of Fittler. All right, so it will be in Fittler in Issaquena County. This is moving east. We have several towns that we want to alert you to so you can take cover immediately. Fittler, Onward, Cary, Mayersville, Rolling Fork, Nidayuma, and Murphy. All of these communities are in the potential path of this tornado. This includes Rolling Fork, which of course everybody knows Sharkey County put through so much with the tornado last year. And we want you to be safe. And you've got a little time right now. So Anae, if we could, let's do them a service. Just let them know how much time they have in Rolling Fork.
I want to confirm the speed with you quickly before that. So what I'm seeing on the computer is saying 40. What are you getting? 40 miles per hour. Okay, so then I'll draw that track. That's moving towards the northeast.
Nothing wrong with double checking when we're talking about this kind of weather. So there you go.
And I'm going to give kind of a wide line because these warnings, they span over a broad area.
And at least this lets people know, even if you're not looking at a tornado, you're at least knowing when the worst, it's a bad storm, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't mean, whether it's a tornado or not, it's still going to be a bad storm. And so it's going to be near Delta National Forest 603, Belzona 636, Chula 739, Yazoo City 742. I know he said that kind of fast. I don't want you to think I'm an auctioneer there, but these storms are moving westward, and Anae's going to redraw the path there, just update it a little bit. And again, Rolling Fork 550. We want you to be in your safe place. Rolling Fork 550. Arcola 525. And the Delta National Forest 612. Inverness 646. Moorhead 706. Belzona 7:28 p.m. All right, these storms continue to move northeastward. A tornado warning now in effect for multiple counties of the lower Delta, including parts of Yazoo, including northwestern Warren. Not for the city of Vicksburg, not yet at least. And then you can see Rolling Fork is the largest city that's probably involved in this. Can I get you to tag it real quick just so we can see what the population is that's involved in this particular warning? And we're talking about almost 12,000 people that are right now under a tornado warning from this storm that is moving into the lower Delta right now of Mississippi. So Rolling Fork, Delta National Forest, just west of Yazoo City, bounded by Louise, as well as over through Lake Providence and Fittler. Potential tornado located near Fittler. See if we can find a couplet on this thing. When we look at winds, we'll look at the storm relative velocity as well as the base velocity. See if we can find anything.
This is it right here.
Okay.
Next to Transylvania.
Yeah, it looks like it's right near Transylvania. This is the area that we're watching. You just got to, I'm looking at the TV screen probably a little closer than you folks are at home.
Or what is the Hollenbrook?
Hard to say, and you know there could be multiple vortices in here as well. So, Chase, I know you've been following what's going on with this. What are you seeing on any of the new reports coming in, whether it's the previous tornado or this one?
Yeah, I've been talking about this Delta area and really harping to the newsroom about really talking about getting people in the southern Delta aware of this storm. So we're really focusing now on the fact that this is a wide range of the debris signature, or not the debris, the velocity. You can't really tie it down to just one certain area right now, which is not necessarily a bad thing because it's showing us a very wide range of a velocity signature. There's no clear debris signature, which is a good sign for us here, but again, there is this is a very strong line of thunderstorms. Even if you do not see a clear, definitive rotation, you're still looking at a very strong thunderstorm that is very capable of producing a tornado, along with very, very strong winds. So this is definitely no joke. I keep going back and forth to the debris signature. There could be some large hail associated with this storm system as well. There's just not necessarily a clear, defined system. It is very, very messy once we get further off to the Delta region and off into the portions west of Vicksburg. But still, no matter where you are, if you're into the Rolling Fork community, if you travel on Highway 1 over into Filter, all the way into Mayersville, it doesn't matter. To Cary, Blanton, these smaller communities over here, you need to be on high alert, as this storm is very capable of producing a tornado. We don't have reports that there is a tornado on the ground at this very moment, but we do have a confirmed report that there is still the velocity there. There is still a good sign that the storm system is very capable of producing a tornado, as well as just producing very strong and damaging winds towards the Rolling Fork community, towards the Delta National Forest area, Bayland, Lewis, Murphy, Sago, Mayersville, Grace, and Highway 1, Highway 14, Highway 61, just to name a few, because it is important. If you have any friends or family off into the southern Delta, give them a call, give them a heads up that this storm system is heading towards their direction. And we can't just not talk about the areas further off to the south as well. Down near Natchez, you're just off the edge of another severe thunderstorm warning. It's not into portions of central Mississippi or southwestern Mississippi just quite yet, but that's another strong storm that is very capable of producing very strong and damaging winds. It might not be tornadic right now, but again, there's a lot going on with these systems, so it's very important that you have ways of staying updated. Just to the north of that, just off to the west of the Mississippi River, all of these are to the west that have not just crossed Highway 65 just quite yet and crossed the river. You still need to be cautious of, but again, the main warning that we got for us right now is for the Rolling Fork community. It's now passing just over the Mississippi and Louisiana border as we speak. Again, there's a couple little areas where we're seeing some large hail associated with this storm system. It's very messy. It's not very organized. That's what we get with some of these lines. Again, it's capable of producing a tornado. So a severe thunderstorm is located just near Transylvania, 7 miles southeast of Lake Providence, and it's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So this is all radar indicated rotation. Flying debris can be dangerous, so please seek shelter immediately. This is a very dangerous situation, as we are going to be closely monitoring it. I see some little nooks and crannies in there that, again, the rotation is kind of lining up with, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see something here. Again, Dave or Ane, do y'all have any thoughts on seeing those? I think just to the east of Lake Providence, if you look at the radar along with the velocity signature, it's kind of lining up just to the east along Highway 1. I think that is the area of rotation where we're really looking at. So it should be heading to the northeast at 40 miles an hour towards that Rolling Fork community. Again, it's looking just about to the east of Lake Providence along Highway 1, north of Filter. That's really where the location of the velocity is, lining up kind of with that radar little notch in the radar signature as well.
What do you see on that, Ane?
It's just like Chase was saying, a broad area of rotation. It is really hard to pin down at first glance which one of these areas will be the most dangerous. So it's just important to note that this is a strong thunderstorm. There's a lot of rotation associated with it. And I'm really glad that Chase touched on something a few moments ago. Even if we don't see a tornado, the strong winds, that those can be dangerous, because that's something that we haven't talked about much tonight. But this severe weather event also carries with it risk of gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour, some 70 plus miles per hour. And when we were talking about earlier the EF scale of tornadoes anyway, if you think about it, straight line winds or winds that are 80 miles per hour, that is the strength, even if it's not rotating.
Right, of an EF0 right there.
That could be the strength of a weak tornado as well. So it's still worth noting, even if you're not in a tornado warning, take the severe thunderstorms seriously, because those strong wind gusts and large hail that we see in some of these southernmost storms in Louisiana, those also could be packing a punch, even though we don't see as much rotation associated with them.
The way it's looking right now in our viewing area, every county along the Mississippi River is going to go under some type of warning here in the next half hour or an hour if you're not already. It's either going to be a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. And especially this is true in Vicksburg. We've got a tornado warning right across the river now. All right, then we've got a severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado farther south from there. And all this weather is going to close in on Vicksburg within the next half hour. But I think Chase did nail it correctly when he said the wind is going to be a real big factor here, regardless of whether it's a tornado or not. And some of these wind gusts, as Anae said, will be as strong possibly as a lower end tornado. A tornado is a tornado though, right? So we're going to be looking at the wind very strong coming out of these storms as they move eastward across the area. And, you know, remember, they're tapping into upper level winds. The higher these storms get in the sky, and that's what the warm air and that's what sunshine does. It lifts, it allows all this lift. The higher these storms get in the sky, the more they can tap into those dangerous winds, bring them down to the surface, right? Because that's the conduit, so to speak. And they can also tap into the cold air. And I wonder if there's any hail. If you want to just hit hail, the hail scan for a moment, Anae, see if we got any hail out of these storms, because that one that's actually northwest of Vicksburg looks pretty intense that we've been seeing. I didn't know how tall that storm was getting, but there you go. We've got some hail. Look at that, just south of Lake Providence here. It's generally penny-sized hail, but there's going to be some hail in some of these storms because they're getting tall in the atmosphere, and when they tap into that colder air, they can bring it down, and that also happens with the wind. So we're getting a good amount of these hail streaks showing up in northeast Louisiana. Fortunately, it's not the damaging type of hail, but at least it gives you a little perspective as to what these storms are doing. If we do our wind analysis on what we're seeing with these storms, I'm just curious what kind of winds, but it looks like, at least from my glance, we're not getting too intense at this point, but still we're seeing some 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts here, and we can also have to remind you these are in the atmosphere. It could be a lot different as these winds are reaching the surface. This is the Metro Jackson area, by the way, still a good I'd say a good 50 to 75 miles away from this weather. So it's just about, I'd say probably 90 minutes, maybe more than 2 hours out before we get this weather actually over the city of Jackson. Tornado warnings in effect right now for our lower Delta counties. This goes until 6 p.m. this evening. Just had to check the clock there for a second. You could see several counties are included in this tornado warning. They include Yazoo, Issaquena, Humphreys, Sharkey, and also, let me just see here, my screen's just updating. Issaquena, Sharkey, parts of Yazoo, and also northwestern Warren County, the extreme northwestern Warren County, but not the city of Vicksburg itself. But we can make an assumption here that eventually some type of warning is going to be placed in for Vicksburg, at least in the next half hour, as this line of storms keeps moving eastward. The line is moving eastward. The storms are moving about 40 miles per hour northeastward right now, out of that line, or in that line, I should say. So that's going to continue to be an issue as we go through the next couple of hours. Anae is drawing a storm track there just to give you some time to plan. And this takes you out a little bit further, like Lexington before 9 p.m., Yazoo City 7:45, Belzona 6:42, and Rolling Fork, it's going to be more along the lines of 5:28 p.m. So that's the situation that's playing out there. These are radar indicated tornadoes at this point. We've had no reports, no ground truth reports, at least, of any weather going on with this. In fact, there's been no reports out of northeast Louisiana that I'm aware of. I don't know if you've seen anything, Chase, in the chat, but at this point, no news, maybe good news on this stuff, but I'm hoping it doesn't try to ramp up as it moves into Mississippi over the next couple of hours. Let's go back south to that storm in Imminent County, and just to see if that's any more active. And you could see they shaved back the warning on it some more. So it's just really for the glading community here in areas along Highway 587 and Highway 24, 584, excuse me, and Highway 24. It's crossing Highway 24. So this is about to move out of that warning box in the next couple of minutes. And that warning expires anyway in about 3 minutes, right?
Yes.
So that's going to be off the board here before long. Heavy thunderstorm moving towards Bogachita from the south. You could see it right here. This is moving from the Wesson community towards Bogachita. So you're going to be looking at some heavy rain coming into town there. East Lincoln getting some heavy rain as well. But a lot of this weather won't last very long. But still, we have to watch these cells because they're still well out ahead of the main line of storms that continues to develop out there. Anything else that you're seeing right now, Anae?
It's mainly it. I'm just continuing to track and make sure that these storms are not trying to rotate anymore. But it is a good sign what we were looking at earlier today, that this rotation that was under the tornado warning earlier in Emmett County, it has moved out of the warning area and they haven't expanded it. To me, that says that they don't have much confidence that this is going to be dropping a tornado anytime soon. But we do still see what I think does kind of still look like a couplet, though. I would still say this is definitely, there's some strong rotation with the storm. It's definitely a stronger storm, a heavy thunderstorm that is moving south of the Thompson area. It's now in the northeastern portion of Emmett County, and that is a part of a longer line of thunderstorms that we were mentioning earlier, stretches all the way up to East Lincoln. It's getting on into Lincoln County. So while they're not going to see tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning right now, it is still some heavy rainfall that you want to keep in mind. I'm going to check the hail on that just a moment, just to make sure that we're not seeing some heavy hail with that, or some large hail with that rather. It's looking like not much coming up on the hail tracker for that storm right now, so that's another good sign for the area. But still, we're seeing some heavy rainfall, some downpours, so I wouldn't be heading out around the Pike County, the northern Pike County to southern Lincoln County area right now, because we do have this heavy thunderstorm. But thankfully, we aren't seeing warnings with that. We're not seeing radar indicated tornadoes associated with that. So for now, the strongest activity that we're tracking in the state of Mississippi is definitely in our southern Delta counties. So that's areas near Rolling Fork, Delta National Forest. As we cross the Mississippi River, you see this line of thunderstorms that has prompted a tornado warning. And that is because radar has indicated that it could be capable of producing a tornado. And just zooming in on this couplet that we've been watching, that is just to the west of Cary, I would say that looks pretty like it's getting more organized than it has been for the past couple scans.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and look at debris. Thankfully, we're not seeing something pop up right where we would expect it to be if that was a tornado on the ground. But then again, that is something that pops up after the fact. It does look like this is some strong rotation, definitely something to be taking seriously if you are part of this warning that we've been tracking for the past couple of minutes. So that is crossing the Mississippi River. It's into our southern Delta counties right now. It's affecting the city of Cary very shortly, moving towards Rolling Fork. And also, I'm going to go ahead and put on a track, just go ahead and see how the storm motion is going, because we see the city of Angula also looking like it's going to be in the track of this shortly.
What I don't like about this setup here is you've got a line moving east, and you can see there's these outcroppings starting to develop on that line. And they could be couplets, but they could be the beginning formations of them. But are you agreeing that my eyes are not deceiving me? That's what I'm seeing here, and it's a little bit of a concern.
Definitely, I would agree with that statement for sure, and that's likely why we have this warning issued for these storms in particular, because they are starting to see these areas that are trying to reach out ahead of the line, and there's rotation with these storms as well. So it's important to keep your eye on these as we go into the next several minutes, as this is going to be over Rolling Fork shortly, or at least one part of the storm, because that's another thing that's tricky with the line as it's moving in at an angle. That many of these areas, you're going to be kind of hit by multiple sides of it. It seems like as it kind of clips those counties that are bordering the Mississippi River. But down the line, we're looking at Belzona right after 6 o'clock as we go forward, at least for this part of the storm. But with this line, we're going to see. Renee,
we have a new tornado warning just going into effect. I apologize for cutting off like that. A new tornado warning just going into effect. This includes Macomb and Summit. Macomb and Summit in Pike County. So let's jump to that right away. This is part of that cell that just was dying off in Mitt County, but now has come to life just west of Summit and Macomb. There it is right there. This is a new tornado warning. This goes until 5:45. This will go for a half hour. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located very near the city of Macomb and moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So this is probably it. It's probably off center a little bit based on the radar scan that we're looking at, but very close to Macomb here. Summit is just north of Macomb. So potential tornado. This is radar indicated. It is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So flying debris, dangerous to those who are caught in the storm. This will be over Macomb in the next 4 to 5 minutes, and as well as Summit. And here we go, new tornado warning now in effect. Here we go. It's getting busy, folks.
So yeah, that definitely looks more organized. Yeah.
All right, so that's coming together really fast.
Dave, I have another report for you here.
Go ahead, go.
According to Storm Chasers, there is a tornado or a disturbance coming down near Homey 61 and Highway 16, I believe. is where it's saying. So up in Sharkey County,
Okay.
we're getting reports from storm chasers that there might not be a storm on the ground, but there's a wall developing with a very clear rotation, basically, is what we're seeing right now from the storm system up near the Rolling Fork community, ever so close. The reports are saying that they are opening the Angola Community Center and Northgate Community Center for shelter now. And if you are in a mobile home, to seek shelter immediately from the storm. So we're pretty much looking right outside this grace and just basically to the east of Highway 1 now, to the west of Cary, just to the southwest of the Rolling Fork area. So this is making its way off to the northeast. So this is where the storm system is traveling. It's pretty much heading up towards the north and to the east, just past Highway 1. So this is very important if you live along Highway 61. Can we get a bit of a zoom in to the more, a little bit more of the community here and basically where we will be seeing that wall as well as that system coming down, Ane?
I'm going to push in over here.
Okay.
Is this helping you out a little bit?
Yes, actually, that's perfect. I'm sorry. Yes, there we go. Okay, this is the storm system that we're seeing just to the northwest of Cary. Again, if you are in the Cary community, seek shelter immediately. We got reports from storm spotters that there is a wall cloud, which means that the rotation is defined and a tornado could form at any minute. So this is no joke, everyone. We need to take this situation very serious. Again, it's heading to the northeast, pretty much along this highway, heading into Rolling Fork. So Erdmont, into Rolling Fork, Angola. They've opened up those shelters for you just to the areas east of Booth. Again, that's where we're seeing that, again, highest velocity signature here, that little couplet just to the northwest of Cary. But again, no matter where you are in this warning, this whole line, it has that velocity that we could easily see just, again, off into the area south into the east of Hopedale, southwest of Booth. Again, that's another area that we're looking at for a little bit of a disturbance. So there's a couple places that we're seeing the velocity just kind of tick, and it's mixing with the radar as well. We try to look at both. We try to look at all the things. And again, there is a confirmed, not tornado, but a confirmed wall cloud just to the northwest of Cary. And then there's another very strong area of rotation pretty much to the east of Mayersville, and again to the areas west of Rolling Fork. So two strong areas of rotation here into Booth, Hopedale. That's where we're seeing one area of rotation, and just to the south of Erdmont now is where we're seeing another area of strong rotation. So two areas where we're seeing couplets of the velocity signature, the green and the red, going against each other, one away from the radar and one towards the radar. So if you're in Rolling Fork, please seek shelter immediately. Areas to the downstream of the Rolling Fork community into much of Angola and Hollandale. I'm looking at Louis, Silver City, Belzona. Again, no matter where you are, even outside of this warning, you need to be keeping a very close eye on this situation because we have these two areas of disturbances that we're really looking at, and we have the report of that wall cloud forming just to the south and to the west of the Rolling Fork area. So if you're in Rolling Fork, seek shelter immediately. If you're a little bit downstream of it, seek shelter immediately as well, as those shelters have been opened. If you're in a mobile home, just try, if you can, go to one of those shelters if you're downstream of one of these cells. So please seek shelter immediately. This is an extremely dangerous situation. And again, not even talking about the tornado, we could see winds up to 70 miles an hour associated with this storm system as well. Very strong rain, and again, some large hail associated with it as well, with the fact that we have a very strong updraft. So here's a look at the radar just from this storm system. So it's hard to tell. It's kind of weakened a little bit, but that little notch, that's that little area right in there that we're seeing it kind of match up with the velocity scan. So now to the west of the north and west of the Rolling Fork community, and then that little area just to the south here where that little bit of orange and yellow kind of leaks into all that red and all that higher rain total or really heavier rain drops that we're seeing associated with the radar. And I'm looking at the velocity here on my phone, reading the reports that are coming in. And again, we're going to be closely monitoring this situation here in the southern Delta, but there's also that warning down in Macomb.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that right now, Chase. We just want to get this tornado warning out to folks. Stay focused on that storm for a second. second. I'm looking at this storm right now in south central Simpson County, Lincoln County, and northern Lawrence and southeastern Copiah County. A tornado warning in effect until 6:15. So, folks, we've got a rapidly developing weather situation here. We've got an intense storm that extends just south of Bogue Chitto, and this is moving northeastward. Can we show the? There we go. They're well-defined couplet. Look at that right here.
And
here.
I also want to add in that emergency managers in Lincoln County, I see in the chat, have reported trees down associated with this storm right here. And it definitely looks like it's strengthening. And thankfully, there's no debris signature popping up at this moment.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of velocity that we're looking at right here, the storm relative velocity. That's pretty strong rotation.
This just blew up. This literally just blew up on the screen.
Yes. At pretty much at the same time as those delta storms, and it's tough to compete with these because they're both very serious situations. But that's just what we were expecting tonight, just active weather, widespread reports, and that's unfortunately what we're seeing right now with this storm system that is in the southern portion of our viewing area, Lincoln County, parts of Simpson County, and yeah, that's exactly what we're looking at right now.
So this particular cell is right just north of Macomb. It's really Summit, just about Summit. On the border here between Lincoln and Pike County. So if I can get you, I just want to show the boundaries here of this tornado warning so a lot of folks understand who's involved here. So this is East Lincoln. Let's go a little bit further north if we can. We're going to go further north. There we go. And we'll take it all the way up to New Hebron. All right, so that's the northern boundary of it. It goes into the extreme southern part of Simpson County. If you can, just give me a little more room up here to show southern Simpson County. There we go. We go to Rockport. We're south of Pinola. All right, but we go to New Hebron, then we go over to just south of Hazelhurst, and then we continue through Weston and over through Auburn. Auburn, if you remember, we had a big tornado that hit you a few years ago. I was on the air covering that one for you. And then Bogue Chitto right now is in the path of this storm. So if you're in Bogue Chitto, it's already bad there. The weather's already bad in Bogue Chitto. All right, but this storm is about to move over you. It's about to come over town right there on US 51. So you're in the path of this tornado. This is a blossoming storm. This one is definitely taking off. This warning goes until 6:15. Tornado warning in effect. All right, it's moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. 50 miles per hour moving northeast. The storm will be near Bogue Chitto now. West Lincoln and Enterprise 525 now. Brookhaven 530. East Lincoln 535. Sontag and Wesson 545. Beauregard 550. Rockport, Oma, and Wanilla at 5:55. If I mentioned your community, take cover now. All right, this is a very serious situation. We have a storm that is just literally popping up. This is in a very rich environment of ingredients that have been perfect for tornadoes to form today. You may remember, it was just about 2 hours ago. We had a tornado, confirmed tornado, large one that was just west of Lloydstar out here in Franklin County. And by the way, southwest Mississippi, you're now under a severe thunderstorm warning that includes the city of Natchez. This is for Adams County as well as Jefferson and much of Franklin County. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. And then just north of there, the extreme western portions of Warren County and Claiborne County, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but this severe thunderstorm is capable of producing a tornado. And now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning going into effect for parts of Hinds County. I'm going a little ahead of myself, excuse me. For Warren County, sorry, looking at a lot of counties at the same time. For northern Warren County and southern Issaquena County. And that storm is also capable of producing a tornado.
Right.
Then we got some other developments for you, all right? The tornado watch has been expanded. I'm talking slowly because there's so much information coming in here, okay? So now we have the tornado watch being expanded. If you were not in the tornado watch earlier, you're now part of the club. You are now included, and that includes all of the WLBT First Alert viewing area of central and southwest Mississippi. There's a little good news. They have now cleared the northeast parishes of Louisiana out of the tornado watch. So this is the main event. Can we center this a little bit? This is the main event that is on the Mississippi River right now, moving eastward. And out ahead of it, don't like to see it, but we have a storm that's trying to take on a supercell kind of stature in Lincoln County, and that's going to be impacting parts of southwestern Simpson, southern Copiah, northern areas of Lawrence, and the city of Brookhaven, and much of Lincoln County in the next half hour to 45 minutes. So this is where we have a tornado warning. We have a tornado warning for the lower delta. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings now for all of our western counties, pretty much that border the Mississippi River at this point in time. And Renee, I know what you're looking for. You're looking at the for any debris signatures. At least right now, it looks like it's okay.
Right, looks a little bit scattered. We can't.
Yeah.
We can't.
Hard to distinguish if that's an actual debris signature or that's just literally interference. But we know the storm is right here, south of Bogachita, where 51 and I-55 come very close to each other. But a lot of moving parts going on here. Again, the tornado watch that was extended, it all goes till 9 o'clock. So we're all under the same umbrella here until 9 o'clock. And that seems to be the magic time that we've been discussing on TV for the past couple of days too, somewhere between 5 and 9 p.m. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're coming up on 5:30. And we've got a very active weather scene taking place out there with numerous tornado warnings now in effect. But the fortunate news is we're not getting a lot of ground truth reports, meaning we're not getting a lot of reports in at this point telling us about damage, and that's good news. But we are going to continue to work the phones and get additional information coming in. Vicksburg right now, let's zoom in on Vicksburg because I just want to show Vicksburg some love here. And you can see that parts of the city are in a severe thunderstorm warning, parts of the city are not. But at this point, there's no imminent threat. The worst of the weather is headed for Eagle Lake. That's some pretty intense weather there. There'll be some small hail damaging wind. And we do have in the Eagle Lake area right now a tornado warning in effect. The worst of the weather is pretty much overhead and moving northeastward right now. Covering that below Eagle Lake, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning. That's that orange box. And then all of our southern counties from there, southwestern Mississippi, are under a severe thunderstorm warning, basically from the city of Vicksburg down to Meadville and over to Natchez. And over the next hour or so, these storms will continue moving eastward. Any new information that you're seeing right now on either of our tornado warnings in effect?
I know it's looking like Chase was looking at some very strong velocity returns that we're seeing over in the Delta. Is that correct?
Yeah, even a possible debris signature as well. It's hard to pinpoint it. It's pretty far away from that radar site. And the things in the Delta are very, very messy, but that velocity is very strong. It's a very, very strong couplet just to the north and to the west of Vicksburg, north of that mountain area, basically crossing into Eagle Lake here. Look at that, the red, the very, very bright red mixing with that very, very bright green just to the south and to the west of Eagle Lake. So areas to the east of Highway 65 into Peelers is one of the cities there that is currently under that not only tornado warning, but also that storm that is just, it is packing a punch. That very strong debris signature. Going to the debris tracker, I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this because it seems as though it's not necessarily organized, but to me, it looks like there could be a debris ball developing. It just seems a bit too far. And what are your thoughts?
I can see that. It's very broad. I definitely understand why you'd be concerned with this. We can't pinpoint it down. That could also be large hail could be associated with this area.
There's too many things to say with that one system. They actually just shaved back that warning, but again, it's a very busy look here in the Delta area, and no matter where you are back into Vicksburg, you do need to be cautious of this storm. It's traveling just to the east-northeast, so it should stay north of the Vicksburg area into much of Blakely, more than likely, Haynes Bluff, Flowery, Redwood, Eagle Lake, and again, I'm trying to zoom in, Highway 465, Highway 61 into Hardy, Valley Park, Kelso, and along Goose Lake Road. Again, this is it's seeming to be a very dangerous situation. The velocity couplet on this storm is looking very, very strong. And again, actually, let's go back to Lincoln County. Go to that cell that we've been tracking for quite some time now. The National Weather Service is saying that cell is looking to have even more solid structure, and it's organizing even more than it already was. The overall structure is still supportive of that evolution of that storm, is what the National Weather Service is saying. And again, we're looking at two areas where we're seeing very strong rotation. One down into areas just to the north of Macomb and just south of Bogachita into the Wilkinson area, Blueberry Hill area, Highway 51 to the east of that. If you live or have any friends that live along Windmill Drive, Fouts Road, Somerset Road, make sure you seek shelter immediately with this storm. Bogachita Road all the way into Pleasant Hill, Hunters Road, Highway 583 and Highway 51 being the big roads around these communities. If you know anyone or have any friends or family down in this area, give them a call. Wellman, you're up next with this storm system. It should stay just to the east of Boca Chica as a whole. So if you have friends or family, or you yourself live to the east of Highway 51 and I-55, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately with the storm, as it is expected to continue to gain a lot of strength.
And right now we continue to watch that particular cell. This is near Blueberry Hill. Some good news, it's probably going to miss downtown Brookhaven, but it's still going to go east of town. If you have a Brookhaven address, you're probably going to get very close to it. This is going to cross Highway 84 in the next 20 minutes or so and move up through East Lincoln, the NOLA community, over through Wellman as well. So just keep in mind, in the eastern part of Lincoln County, this is where the most dangerous part of this storm is. We do have video from earlier this afternoon. This is of the tornado that went across. You could see a spin up that went across. This is Highway 84. And as we look out, you go farther out, this is where you could see the storm go right across Highway 84. This is from Krishasha Torrance. She took this video about 2 hours ago, I'd say, maybe a little bit more than that at this point. But this is right along the Lincoln and Franklin County border of the storm that was out there earlier, where there's been some damage near McCall Creek. We had video from Bruce Jenkins, a WLBT First Alert weather viewer, also who we spoke to on the air, and he shared that video with us as well. If you have any video or pictures that you can, if you can, share it with us on our free First Alert weather app, and you know, we will get it on the air, of course. But just do it if you could do it safely as well. Daryl, what was your question? Can you put on that video too, just to show Bruce Jenkins' video, if we can? He shot some video. We spoke with him on live on TV a short time ago. He's a viewer that came across quite a bit of tornado damage a short time ago. This is Bruce Jenkins, who shot this video just driving along, and he was caught up in the traffic. This was about, he said, about 10 miles or so southwest of Brookhaven on Highway 84. That puts you out pretty close to the Lincoln County line if you're not already in really northeast Lincoln County. And there was an 18-wheeler pulled over there, but you could see all the trees that were taken down. Quite a bit of debris strewn over the roadway. Cars were taking it easy, and he said they did bring in, it looks like, a little equipment to kind of clear off the road. So that's what's going on out there right now. We still have a tornado warning in effect. We're watching south central Mississippi. This is not far from that previous storm, but it's a different location. This cell is over Boca Chica. This is where we are watching. We're monitoring the winds right now south of the community, really near Wilkinson, and this is moving northeastward, coming out of Lincoln County right now, moving northeastward towards New Hebron, Oma. This is going to skirt just northwest of Monticello. So that's, you're really, the city of Monticello is not necessarily in this tornado warning, but areas along Highway 27, along Rosella, you are included in this tornado warning at this point. So at this point, let's show that debris tracker there, Chase. And you know, at this point, it's hard to make out. Is it noise? Is it debris, right? I mean, it's really kind of unknown. Can you roll it back maybe a couple frames and we can kind of see it? Okay. That might give us a better indication.
It looks like a lot of noise at this moment. It's hard to get a clear picture with a lot of these cells. I feel like there's, it doesn't matter if you're looking at the Delta or this one cell that we're tracking just to the southeast of Brookhaven. It's not a clear picture. Right. I also wanted to point out that 6,100 customers are without power in the state, with most of them actually being in Franklin County as well, with over almost 2,000 out. 2,000 people without, or 2,000 customers without power in Franklin County. So that's another thing I want to point out. But yes, I'm not necessarily sold on the fact of something being on the ground at this moment. If anything was at all, it's not necessarily kicking up a lot. It's too wide of a look, but the velocity's there. I mean, we looked at this storm, and it's showing a very tight velocity couplet just to the south of Wellman and 583. That is something that we need to closely monitor as you get going. Please seek shelter immediately if you're in these areas, into Wellman, into 583, into Boca Chica Road, areas to the east of 583, especially along the I'm trying to point out major roads, and maybe that those of you that do live down there, or those of you that have family down there, might know it by the major road instead. So Melvin Mason Road, Wellman Drive, East Lincoln and East Lincoln Road, as well as Union Road, Highway 84 to areas to the south of Highway 84. That is the main concern right at this moment. But still, if you live to the north of Fair River, into NOLA, into Tyrus, into Oma, you want to be taking the situation serious. You want to seek shelter while you still have the chance to, because this storm is very capable of producing a tornado. It's not necessarily showing us a clear image on the debris signature, but still a very clear image in the velocity that we could easily see that there is some tight rotation there.
All right, and right now we have our storm tracker out in the field. The WLBT First Alert storm tracker is currently in Brookhaven, just to the northwest of the storm cell. Let's check in with Nathan Lee and tell us what you're seeing right now from your location.
Yes, Dave, we're out here we just passed downtown Brookhaven, and you know, we're not seeing any damage so far, but we have seen a lot of lightning. I'm going to give you all a quick little look out. That is what we're seeing, a lot of rain. I know that's the greatest look right now, a lot of rain and a lot of lightning. Just about 20 minutes ago, we weren't seeing anything, not really any rain. If some, it was very light. Not much lightning at all. Now we're out here in Brookhaven. I know that Dave and others have said that this is a hot spot right now, and you can see it in the sky. This lightning is very active. Rain is getting stronger, and obviously it is very dark out here. So for those that are on the road, I mean, this is a very interesting situation out here. Obviously, like we said, a lot of lightning, but we're gonna keep following along in this area. I know that this is a spot that Dave and others have said that is very active right now. So we're going to keep following along in this area. But right now, I'm Nathan Lee. Let's go ahead and send it back to the studio.
All right, thank you very much. Be safe out there. Again, Nathan Lee in the WLBT First Alert Storm Tracker. Hey, we were just talking here while Nathan was giving his report. This is the cell near Bogachita, which again poses a tornadic threat, mainly east of Brookhaven. The downtown portion of Brookhaven has been taken out of it, but areas east are involved. But you and Nay, I'm talking to you, and also Chase, were commenting about the hail. We spoke about the hail that was nearing the Delta before, but now it looks like there's some larger hail starting to pop up.
We were talking about how that definitely seemed to be the primary threat. Earlier today, we saw some strong rotation nearing the Delta, and we were worried, is that a tornado trying to touch down? And now we kind of have a clear vision that there's a lot of rotation, certainly, and a lot of that is kind of manifesting itself as large hail that's been falling across the areas in the Delta. We're looking at the hail tracker right now. Definitely penny size, but some areas approaching quarter size, especially farther south, and that area will be moving north of Vicksburg right now. Unfortunately, looks like it'll be tracking back near the Eagle Lake area. They've already had a lot of the force of this thunderstorm already as this line continues to move across into parts of our western viewing area. There are states that are bordering the Mississippi River. They are seeing a lot of hail. That's the main threat that we've been seeing moving into that area so far. We haven't seen a confirmation of a tornado yet. We have just seen strong winds gusting through the area and some large hail associated with these warnings, although we still see the marker on there, tornado possible. So it's very important just to keep in mind on all the different moving parts that we have going on with these storm systems in particular.
Back to regular radar if we can. Let's go into Rolling Fork. And I just want to give those folks some extra TLC here as we watch the radar. And you can see the heaviest of the weather is now passed over Rolling Fork, which is good. It's still very bad in Rolling Fork, okay? Don't get me wrong. But when I say the worst, this is the core of the storm, moving more towards Ritchie and Murphy, away from Rolling Fork. This is the eastern part of the storm, getting farther out on Highway 16. But at least the weather will only improve from this point forward in the Rolling Fork community. That storm is moving over you. So the tornadic threat is now east of downtown Rolling Fork. Again, Rolling Fork very much on edge after dealing with what it had to go through last year. And then you can see that this is going to be more of an issue towards Louise and Loch Lomond and the Delta National Forest as we go through the next half hour or so. But when you start seeing purple on the screen, it tells me a couple things. There's either very heavy rain going on or large hail contaminating or mixing with the rain. And so we do have hail out here. It's penny-sized hail, but there must be a lot of it coming down. Could be heavy hail, literally, and that's what's happening near Anguilla and south of Delta City, and also over Rolling Fork. So some small hail, but if you live in Rolling Fork, just want to tell you, in the next 20 minutes, the weather will improve dramatically, but you're going to have to wait that long until it moves on out. The weather's still going downhill. Louise, it's going downhill in front of this storm. Eventually, Yazoo City, you're going to have to deal with it, but you're not under a tornado warning right now. Going farther south, every county bordering the Mississippi River is under some type of warning right now. Maybe it's not a tornado warning, but it's a severe thunderstorm warning in the case of Warren County, Claiborne County, Franklin, as well as Adams and Jefferson counties. And then we've got our tornado warning here, which includes Lincoln County. It has moved past Summit, it's moved past Macomb, and it is now in Lincoln County, just east of Brookhaven, about to cross Highway 84. This is a tornadic thunderstorm that is moving north and eastward, coming out of Bogachita. The worst of it has moved through Bogachita, but now it's very close to the Wellman area and East Lincoln, and this will be moving across Highway 84 very soon, very close to Fair River. We've been looking at the debris tracker. It does mix in with some interference at times, but we feel there's a little debris mixed in here. Just don't want to overdo it because of the fact that we just don't have the ground reports to go along with it like we did earlier when we were talking about the storm that was farther west near McCall Creek. We had ground truth reports, people on the ground say, hey, I'm watching this tornado right now crossing Highway 84. We could pretty much line up everything. We're falling into a little trap right now because it's getting dark. If it's not already dark out there, I'm just looking outside our tower cam here, and that's going to be one of those things where these are now becoming nighttime storms. They're harder to see. And for a lot of people, you may not know you're even in a tornado until it pops up on you. And that's the danger and the difference between having storms, say, at 5:40 in the evening in late December versus 4:40 in the evening or 3:40, which is what we just had a little while ago. So this is where the most intense storm is right now. Just crossed Highway 583, and it is about to cross Highway 84 in the next few minutes. And what are your thoughts on that storm right now, Ine?
So we see that rotation. We've been watching it for the past several hours. And just like Dave was saying, with the debris, it's tricky once we get to this time in the night or in the early evening, because we can't really have those reports confirming whether or not this is exactly debris. But I will say that that spot popping up just to the west of East Lincoln, it is kind of in a perfect spot with what we would see as the couplet. It is somewhere that we would expect, but we can't have that confirmation right now. We just know there's strong rotation with this storm and that it is definitely capable of dropping a tornado. So it's very important for those of us that are in the track that we've been going over the past couple of minutes that you do need to be careful and go ahead and be in your safe place. That's East Lincoln, that's Fair River, NOLA, and then farther south, Tyrus as well. And there are some smaller communities associated in between those. We got Oma further out. But something else that caught my eye was another tornado warning in kind of the, I don't know, I should say boot, but the part of Louisiana that's bordering our counties, Wilkinson County. They have a tornado warning just below Wilkinson County. And as we continue through the evening, these will also be tracking into our southern counties as well. That's a similar path that they've been taking all evening, but that's just another thing of note. That's as far south of Natchez, where they only have a severe thunderstorm warning, but there are more tornado warnings popping off to our south and west, and I was catching my eye because those will be moving into our area shortly as well. But for now, the most organized storm, definitely the one that we are tracking, that is to the east of Brookhaven right now. It's moving out of the Bogachita area, but we still see that rotation along with it. Over East Lincoln, now starting to move out of that area. So now it's approaching Fair River and NOLA seem to be the closest areas that we are seeing right now with this rotation. Once again, I'm taking to take another look at the debris signature. It's in the right area, but that could also be large hail and things like that. I'm going to check the hail tracker right now to see. We have some of that associated with this storm as well. A lot of things going on with these individual cells that are popping up in the area, but just for now, keep in mind, very important that we see many counties right now in this tornado warning.
Okay, and we're going to throw it to Chase Franks here in just a second, but just want to let you know I'm following our communications here behind the scenes at WLBT. We're getting a lot of pictures and a lot of video from you that's coming in, so we're going to be sharing that with you in the next few minutes. In fact, before we go to Chase, if it's all right, I'd like to show some drone video that was shot just a short time ago. That was with the tornado that was over Highway 84. Look at this. That is impressive video. Hunter McDowell shared this with us a short time ago. This is the tornado that went across Franklin and Lincoln counties. This is part of the technology that we have nowadays that we just didn't have a few years ago. But you can shoot a tornado safely from quite a distance away. I don't know if it's safe for the drone, but I will say for the person on the ground, as long as you're safely away from it. But this is the scene that we're looking at right now. Hunter McDowell, this was the tornado about 2-3 hours ago that crossed through Lincoln County. And again, vivid video. We appreciate you sharing that with us. Again, anytime you have any pictures or video and you want to share them, just contact us through the free First Alert weather app. You can swipe up when you get to the app, and it's very easy to submit the pictures and video. But that is just stunning, isn't it? I mean, just incredible. And you can see the sky just kind of rotating around it even. We have a new tornado warning. Just want to get to this real quick before I turn it back over to Chase. A new tornado warning going into effect. This is for Imminent County and also Wilkinson County. And I bring this up because this is part of that line that is coming out of Louisiana. And if this keeps propagating eastward, eventually Pike County, you're gonna be back in the mix once again. So you're probably thinking, wow, what's going on here again? But yes, this is what could happen this evening in some places. As we roll it into motion there, you can see the progression of everything. We have storms closing in from the west, and then we have these storms that are out ahead of the main line. They're moving from south to north roughly. And that's what we're dealing with. These are the rogue, renegade, isolated, discrete storms, whatever words you'd like to use to describe them. That's what they are. And they're taking advantage of the atmosphere out ahead of the main line. But this main line, it means business. And when it slides across our area, which it will do over the next 3 hours, it ends the severe weather threat completely for central and southwest Mississippi. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Holmes County, a new severe thunderstorm warning for Yazoo City, just going into effect. Belzona, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning now as well. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning covering up a large area that will continue for some time to come. All these warnings are coming out very quickly. This involves 40,000, almost 41,000 people, goes till 6:45, and we have a tornado possible tag. What that means is it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but the severe thunderstorm is capable of producing a tornado with very short notice, and that's really coming out of this. We just haven't had any real reports so far of tornadoes on the ground with that storm system. But Rolling Fork, the weather is now east of you and continuing to move away, and I wouldn't give you the all clear sign at all right now, but I would just say that the worst of the weather is now moving east of Rolling Fork. It's heading for Yazoo City, Lexington, Chula, Belzona. All that's going to happen in the next half hour to 45 minutes. Let's go farther south now and show you the latest on what's going on with storms in the metro, and it's pretty quiet. We don't have anything happening at this point. Remember, I was telling you about that storm that was coming out of Lincoln, went towards Hazelhurst. Where'd it go? I mean, it pretty much fell apart, didn't it? And now we have this one cell here that is located near, very close to between Monticello and Brookhaven, and that's lifting northward towards the Rockport community and maybe eventually Georgetown if it can hold together. But this is just showing you something. These storms, I don't want to say they have less potential, but it seems like they're not lasting as long. Each successive thunderstorm that we've been tracking out ahead of the main line. I'm looking at Nay, if you're wondering why I keep looking off the screen, I'm looking towards Chase. But each successive run of these storms, they're a little bit less long lasting, if that is a way to phrase it. They're just not lasting, less duration. They're not really making it as long. But what are you seeing right now, Chase, from your perspective, meteorologist Chase Franks, watching that storm like we are? You're keeping an eye on what's happening out there in parts of Lincoln County. What do you see on this storm?
Yeah, well, pretty much what we've been saying this whole time. A very strong velocity couplet. Here's a view of the radar signature as well. A very different look, but if you notice, has that little tiny hook where it's kind of matching the velocity, and the correlation coefficient as well is semi there. I want that to be known that it is showing us something, but not necessarily nothing at all. So it's important that those of you into the Fair River area, into NOLA, it's about to be crossing Highway 84, you are weather aware at the start of this storm system. It is heading directly towards y'all at this very moment as we speak. So please, if you are along Highway 84, live anywhere along there, or know anyone that lives along there, give them a call right now. There could be a very strong tornado very easily here in the next couple minutes with this storm system tracking off to the north and to the east. There's another, they just recently shaved down the update to exclude a lot of the areas on the back end of it into the Wellman area and back on the backside of West Lincoln. So the most recent model run, or the most recent update, says that at 5:49 a confirmed tornado was located actually over East Lincoln. So there's a confirmed tornado on the ground now. That area of couplet that we really are looking at right here, that's what we're seeing where that tornado is right now. It's on the ground over East Lincoln. It is making its way 9 miles southwest of Brookhaven, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. So if you have any friends or family that live anywhere along this area, Union Road is pretty much what we're seeing that system right now, tracking its way off into the northeast. Fair River Road just crossing over Highway 84 here in the next couple minutes. So please seek shelter immediately. NOLA Road, Holly Springs Loop, Fair River Road, all the way into NOLA. If you have any friends or family, NOLA, Woolworth Road, you want to make sure that you seek shelter immediately. This is now a dangerous situation. We were talking about it having the capability of producing a tornado. Now it has produced a tornado. There's a confirmed tornado, radar confirmed tornado, damaging tornado that has the capability to be very, very strong. Now, I'm reading what the National Weather Service is saying right here, so I'm going to step off. It will be near Sontag and Winilla around 5:55. So in 3 minutes, if you live in Sontag and Winilla, seek shelter immediately. In Oma around 6 p.m. So in 8 minutes, it'll be around NOLA, and then in 18 minutes in Rockport. New Hebron around 6:15. So if you have any friends or family in this area at all, here's a look at the debris signature showing you clear as day that we have that very tight debris, or not debris ball, but a very tight velocity signature. The debris is still a bit all over the place. Here is a look at it though, if you look off further to the north, but that is what we're looking at.
That looks
right
like
there.
more. That looks like more of a debris signature now south of Fair River than we've seen with the cell for a while. And so I just want to stress that. That again, as you've been saying, you've been doing a great job explaining. This is now an observed tornado, confirmed on the ground tornado crossing Highway 84, and this is going to be very close to, let's say, we're almost about 10 miles east of Brookhaven now on Highway 84. We're close to the border between Lawrence and Lincoln counties, but we're definitely in Lincoln County here, and so just want to make sure that everybody knows this is going to move across the border very soon into Lawrence County. And then, as you've been mentioning, Sontag and Winilla are going to be in the path of this storm. It's a dangerous situation for sure, especially with this thing potentially being on the ground.
Yeah, it looks to be crossing over Highway 84 right now, and that debris signature clear as day now. Earlier, it was very messy, very disorganized, but still looking at, again, you have the chance to see some pretty large hail with this storm system, and the radar is looking quite organized as well. Look at that. Look at that donut right there over Fair River.
Why don't you explain what a donut hole means to folks? Because a lot of we talk about it quite a bit. We've seen quite a few of them in Mississippi in recent years.
We have seen quite a few. Even today, we saw with that one system earlier, showing us that clear rotation is kind of more of a defined scale where you don't really get a lot of precipitation actually falling in the area that we're getting that tornado. So that's why we're seeing that little bit of a drop here. That's where that tornado would actually be located, the area of the highest rotation here, as it kind of loops around that back end of that storm system. The inflows coming in, you get that very strong system. We have clear rotation of that strong donut is showing us that there is a tornado on the ground, not just that one little thing crossing over Highway 84 right now. So Fair River, you're in the thick of this storm right now. Seek shelter immediately if you have friends or family. Into NOLA, back into anywhere to the north and to the east of that Fair River community along Highway 27, Sontag, Smith Ferry Road, NOLA Road, areas to the east of Raffin. So this is please take the situation serious. If you live in Oma, all the way up into Strong Hope, areas to the west of Ferguson as well, including most of Ferguson. But here's a look at what you can expect and when you can expect it. NOLA around 5:58, so the next 3 minutes. Sontag around 6:03, Tyrus at 6:07, Oma at 6:12, and then at 6:18, over in Rockport. So in the next 30 minutes, this storm system is expected to continue to travel off to the north and to the east. And again, it's right over Highway 84 right now, just basically has crossed to the north of the Fair River community. So please take shelter immediately if you are downstream of this. Areas back into the south and to the west, you are in the clear, but that's only for now. We're talking about a very long line of system, a very long line of storms stretching all the way back into the Delta area, back into areas southwest into Mississippi, back near Natchez, all the way stretching for pretty much the whole length of our area. So it goes all the way back into areas southwest Mississippi. And a lot of this, we're not seeing a lot of tornado warnings associated with this line. We're seeing more so towards the Delta area. And again, it doesn't matter if there's a tornado warning. These cells can easily spin up a tornado like that. It could easily happen. So it's very important that you have multiple ways of staying updated. Actually, taking a look, there is a new
tornado warning now.
New tornado warning right now here in, like I was just saying, they can spin up in a matter of an instant.
And they're doing it.
So it's very possible. This is just for areas into areas north of Port Gibson into Vicksburg. Let me get this pulled up here real quick. It hasn't been updated.
It's just updating now. Let me give you the information. Okay, tornado warning for southeastern Warren County. I'm sorry, I'm covering up the part of the map here. Wow, we're going into we now have a severe thunderstorm warning for all of Metro Jackson. We have a tornado warning that involves the city of Raymond, Utica, as well as it does not include Vicksburg, but it includes areas just outside of Vicksburg. A thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located right now 12 miles south of Vicksburg, moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. So this line is accelerating, folks, all right? And radar indicates rotation. All right, so this storm will be near Vicksburg, just south of Vicksburg. It'll be near Newman, Regantown, and Rocky Springs. Severe tornado warning until 6:45. This does include parts of Hinds County now. We want to start alerting folks in the Metro Jackson area that after 6:45, we could be dealing with a tornadic storm in the metro. So we're getting very close now. I would give you a heads up if you're in Clinton, Jackson, Madison, and Ridgeland. We have Edwards, also Simrall, and Regantown, Galloway, and Utica included in this tornado warning. Take cover at this time. In the event there is flying debris. And then on top of that, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that is covering a very large area right now. I'm going to tag that for you. And you can see this one is for a large area. 360,000 people are included in this severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Hinds, Madison, Rankin, and Warren counties. So this covers up pretty much the whole area. Vicksburg, Madison, Jackson, Brandon, also Pearl, Flowood, Byram, Braxton, Hazelhurst, Crystal Springs, Byram, and Terry are all included. I hope I didn't say this twice, but also the city of Clinton are all included in this new severe thunderstorm warning. The severe thunderstorm warning goes until 7:15. So we're now getting into the thick of it, folks, with numerous warnings currently in effect. I'm going to pull out here so you can see. Orange indicates a severe thunderstorm warning, and red indicates a tornado warning. There are 4 tornado warnings on the screen here that we're watching, and one that's for eastern Lincoln, northern Lawrence, southern Copiah, another one that's for parts of, you can see there, eastern Warren, western Hinds, and most of Sharkey counties. And again, the most intense one, I hate to say it like this, but the most intense one would be the observed storm that is located very close to Fair River, really the NOLA community, and that's moving more northeast.
And I also want to point something out, though, about this most recent tornado warning, because I'm getting a good look at it over on Max 1. I don't know if they can change it over here, but this is the one that's south of Vicksburg. It's near Big Black and Humphreys, and I just think that it's looking very organized. We see that poking out ahead of the line, and then when I move this over to storm relative velocity, that's strong rotation that we're looking at right there. So they're not going confirmed on this, but this storm, it's looking pretty organized to me as well. I think this one is something that definitely needs to be watched. So if we kind of zoom in closer and show where that rotation is right now, it is near Jeff Davis. And yeah, look at that. That's some strong rotation that we've got going in there. It's getting pretty tight in there.
So we're getting into, that's going to be putting us, just so you know, I'm letting the folks know in the back where this is going to go. This is going to put us into northern Hinds County here very soon. But we're going to have this storm moving into the metro within the next hour, okay? So we're at 6 p.m. right now. We've been saying that we thought we'd be out of this weather by about 9 o'clock. And Nate, if you can, show the main line of the storms just on regular radar. And you can see what's happening here, folks, all right? We got this line of storms right here. It's basically bordering US 61. We'll use that as our frame of reference, all right? US 61. And the line of storms is along US 61, and it's moving eastward now at a pretty good clip. The southern end of it is moving 60 miles per hour. It's a little bit slower up here, but not by much. It's 50 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour. I think this is 40, that's 60. And what I want to point out is we have this tornado warning now that's really in effect, and this is important to note. We have 2 tornado warnings really in our area. One that's covering Hinds and Warren counties, but this is just outside of Vicksburg, and this is just outside of Jackson. So we're not over the major population centers yet. But if you live in, let's say, Natchez, let's go a little bit farther southwest to Natchez, that's it. You're done. The severe weather threat is over for you in Natchez. You are in the clear as far as the severe weather goes. It's still going to rain for a while, but the severe weather threat is over. But this is the storm that we're watching here, and I am kind of curious, are you, Nate, whether this thing's going to make it past Oma and what they're going to do with it, because right now it's still going as an observed, confirmed tornado on the ground. We have a debris signature that we've been monitoring, and we can see it a couple different ways. Right. This one's going to be moving across Highway 27 before long. So the whole picture I'm trying to paint for you, if we can go back to the big view here, the whole picture I'm trying to paint is that while we are seeing some of these storms trying to get going ahead of the line, this line's going to take over here very soon, and the line's going to push everything out very quickly. The problem is, got to get through the line.
Yes, and that's not something to take lightly. I see this white box around this storm.
Oh yeah.
They're confirming this right here in Wilkinson County, and that is a little bit out of our viewing area, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but we're just showing that this line is capable of tornadoes in itself. We talked about the cells out ahead of it, and we're viewing that right now. That is going to be in between Monticello and Brookhaven right now, which is more north of Monticello. This storm over NOLA, but we also are confirming another tornado far to our south and west over in Mississippi as well. So there's just a lot going on. This is just widespread severe weather that we've been warning about earlier in the day. Another thing that I am watching as well is this kind of notch that's poking out of the line in this new warning. Isn't that a new notch from what you were talking about? Like we were just looking at 2 different notches. It's pretty much getting more defined.
Yeah.
And that's something that this is continuing to catch my eye. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some kind of, I don't want to speak too soon, but some kind of confirmation on this. This is looking it's looking organized.
So where it is right now, it's over the Big Black River. All right, that's pretty much the bottom there, the Big Black River between, that's between Claiborne and Warren counties. It's pretty rural. There's a couple of friends of mine have a fishing camp out there, hunting camp, but it's going to cross Highway 27 in about the next 10 minutes, and that's going to cross it probably very, very near the border of Hinds and Warren counties. And so when it does that, we probably will have a better idea as to if it's producing any kind of damage, because it's going to come across some, what I call a civilization in that particular spot. So once it does that, we're going to have a much better idea as to what kind of thing it's producing. But I'll tell you right now, I'm kind of with you. I would not be surprised if they go confirmed on this storm very soon.
And this speed, was this the one that was 60? Because I can go ahead and put a long track on this one, since it is going to be moving into more populated areas within the next hour.
This one, if it's going 60 miles per hour, it's going to be into the city of Jackson, or at least into the metro, very close, if not crossing the metro, in about an hour. But go ahead, plot it out.
Speed this up. This one I have it on 50 right now, so put that on 60, and then I'll just go ahead and just confirm this is the path. So it's going a little bit more east than other storms. Going to make a long track just so we can get everyone in.
Yep.
So we're looking near Raymond around 6:30, 6:29, and then in the Clinton area 6:36. That's the Jackson Metro around 6:43. So within the next hour, we could be looking at this storm, and it's looking organized further back where it is near the Big Black area. But of course, we're going to have a much better view as it approaches us. It's getting closer to the radar, and then there's also, though, unfortunately, more opportunities to pick up debris as we get into more developed areas, get into areas that have more infrastructure.
Yeah, I would encourage everybody right now, start paying attention in Metro Jackson. Take this very serious because this is in the right spot, if you will, to really take advantage of the atmosphere. This is along the main line, and even if we don't have a tornado from it, we're going to probably get some damaging wind. from this particular line of storms that we're looking at coming out of Warren County right now. You may have caught a break in Vicksburg because it seems like all the storms kind of jumped around Vicksburg or even literally went right over it. But you're still dealing with some pretty rough weather right now. Look at it, over Vicksburg, it's still coming down. Anybody who's watching is probably saying, does he know what the weather's doing in Vicksburg? Because, But if you know what I'm saying, the worst of this cell is just outside the city of Vicksburg. So is that tornado warning. It is literally just on the southern end of town, outside of town. So Highway 27 is where this storm is going to come across, very close to the Big Black River as it moves into western Hinds County. And all I'm saying is the tornadic part of that storm has passed Vicksburg. The worst of the weather has now passed Rolling Fork. Issaquena County, the worst of the weather has passed for you as well. It is still going to be a stormy evening. I'm not telling you to go out and celebrate or turn up the grill. I'm telling you to be cautious, but I'm just saying the worst part of the storm has now passed you. We are also watching what's going on with this storm now in northern Lawrence County, keeping a very close look as to what's happening with that.
Yeah, Dave, I want to say something about that storm, actually.
Do it.
We got a report in the National Weather Service chat. There was actually a confirmed tornado on the ground on Highway 84 near Hammery. So that's just in between the Brookhaven and Monticello area approximately 10 minutes ago. So thankfully, we've seen it kind of weaken a little bit recently, but we still have a pretty clear velocity signature with this storm. It's still very strong, still has the capability of producing a tornado. No confirmations if there is one on the ground at the moment. No confirmations of damage either, but we do have a confirmed report that there was a tornado seen with this system crossing Highway 84 around that Fair River area in between Brookhaven and Monticello. So that is something to report with that cell that's moving to the northeast now.
And either way, that's definitely not weak wind. We can see those bright colors. That is some strong rotation that we're seeing with that storm still. And it was confirmed just a few moments ago, just like Chase said, when it was crossing in between Monticello and Brookhaven. And this is the strongest storm that we're still looking at right now in our viewing area. And it's been warned for, has it been an hour yet? It's been a while since we've had this particular storm.
This one's been going a pretty good while. Look at that. The wind field looks like it's spread out a little bit more on it. Each scan is going to reveal something a little bit different about this storm. We're going across Highway 27 now, and we're now in northern Lawrence County. Almost the entirety of the tornadic part of this storm has crossed 27. So we've crossed two major roads. We've gone across US 84. We've now gone across 27. And the bulk of this storm is about to cross 27 south of Oma. If you're in Oma, over through about the New Hebron area, I'm going to say just in between. I hate being so broad about that, but that's where the worst of the winds and this storm are currently located. So a dangerous situation. Again, back to the storm that is moving into Hinds County, coming out of Warren County, alerting everybody in Metro Jackson, please prepare for this line of storms. If this is going to continue to behave the way it's behaving, we could have a problem on our hands in the next 40 minutes, maybe even less, half hour, 45 minutes. The way this thing is moving, this will outgrow or really overreach the warning that you're currently seeing, and it's about to cross Highway 27, which is where we're going to have a little more folks living outside the Hubbard community as it moves northeastward into Hinds County. Champion Hill, Edwards, Flowers, Raymond, Utica, these are all places that are in the path of this potential tornado. You're in the red, and of course we've got Interstate 20 out here as well. Arrival times: Smith 6:18, Edwards 6:20, Champion Hill 6:24, Bolton 6:28, and the airport in Raymond, it'll be at 6:30. Again, we have a tornado warning that is currently in effect for parts of Hinds County, and that will continue moving eastward as we go through the next half hour to 40 minutes. We want everybody on alert, especially for those of you that live in the Clinton area, because that's where this storm is looking like it's going to be tracking northeastward more, at least the next 30 to 45 minutes. And again, Vicksburg looks like the tornadic part of the cell literally went south and east of town, passing it. Now I'm looking at, Nay, I don't know if you can pull it up. Or in the back, guys, can you pull this up? Can you show the tower cam from Raymond? It's on Max 2 if you can't easily pop it in the control room, but I just want to show you, we're looking right now at that storm from our tower cam in Raymond, and you can see it. Guys, if you can, push Max 2 or take the tower cam from your control board. There we go. Okay, perfect. Appreciate that. And you can see all the lightning that is currently coming out of the storm. We are 1,500 feet up in the air. Am I right? We're on the Raymond Tower Cam. Sorry, I don't want to make sure. Okay,
Yes.
1,500 feet up in the air right now, and we're staring at this storm. I don't know. There's another tower out there, obviously, but we're staring at the storm. Look at the amount of energy in the atmosphere right now. This is just something awesome. We're in night vision mode. That's why everything's black and white. But you could see all the strobing lightning going across the sky. And this is from that storm that is currently crossing Highway 27 in western Hinds County and is currently moving northeastward across the area. So this is the storm we're going to be keeping a very close watch on during the next half hour to 45 minutes. It's a team effort here at WLBT First Alert Weather. We even have Maggie Wade here this evening, and we're going to be checking in with you, I guess, in a moment.
Yes.
All right, we have some news information to share.
We do. We do know from Franklin County that there have been some injuries, and right now we're going to be talking with Mallory White. She's with the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, or MEMA. Mallory, thank you so much for being with us. We know it's been a rough day across parts of Mississippi. What can you tell us right now about injuries and damage in parts of the state where we know there has been severe weather?
Hi, good evening. Yeah, right now we have very preliminary reports coming out of Franklin County. We do know at least 2 homes destroyed. We do anticipate more being reported to us later. And right now we do have 2 injuries in Franklin County that have been reported to us. Like I said, this is very preliminary at this point. We're urging people to just stay informed, get in your safe place whenever it is time to get in your safe place. And if you do have damage to your homes, go ahead and report it. You can report it to MEMA by going to our website, mscma.org.
Now, we've been listening to our First Alert Weather team all day. They've been keeping us informed. We are not out of the woods yet, so it's important for people to stay informed and also to stay out of those areas where we know there is damage.
Absolutely, yes. Stay off the roads if you can. I did see some reports from the troop down South Mississippi, the Highway Patrol, saying that, there was debris on the roadways. Obviously, those are things that you can anticipate, especially with the type of winds that we're experiencing right now. Another thing is know your safe place, and especially as we go into the nighttime hours. We do not like these nocturnal storms. If you do plan on getting some sleep tonight, make sure that you have a weather app or something that is loud enough to wake you up in case there is a tornado warning in your area.
And we also need to remind everyone that MEMA is keeping watch, will keep us updated on everything that's going on throughout the state of Mississippi.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Mallory, thank you so much. Well, Dave, we also know in Lincoln County, this came from the EMA director, Chris Reed, that they have trees and power lines down there. They also have 1 or 2 homes with structural damage. Of course, our news team right now is all over the area, making sure that we're keeping you up to date on damage. But the best thing you can do right now is to listen to our First Alert Weather team. And again, as Mallory said, know your safe place and get to it as quickly as possible if a warning is issued for your area. Let's go back to Dave now.
All right, Maggie, 2 new tornado warnings just being issued right as we speak. Let's get to it. First one right now going into effect for southeastern Rankin County, northern Simpson County currently. We have a new tornado warning in effect. This is for also northeastern Lawrence County and southeastern Copiah County. So Rockport, northeastward Mendenhall, then over to about McGee. This includes the Braxton area as well and the Delo Water Park. We have a potential tornado located 9 miles north of Monticello. This is moving